I know. I mean, this is another universal truth that I find about genocide itself is that there's always going to be deniers.
Oh, of course, of course.
And that is, sort of a truth. It doesn't matter if it's the Holocaust or if it's the genocide against the
But
Tutsi in
David,
Rwanda.
yeah, this.
There's where there's genocide, there's always people trying to erase that history. They attempt to erase a population, and then they attempt to erase the memory of it, and then they attempt to erase the evidence, and then eventually they change the history. So this is a reality of it.
Very
Well, I
much so.
think your opportunity here today with Bronka is very special because, as she says, the number of people that survived the Holocaust are diminishing in numbers, and someday there will be nobody around. And so to get this is really special. Thank you.
Well, it's not it's not me. It's Bronka who agreed, and
Yep,
and it's
yep.
really Bronka who's the generous person today.
She
I
is.
didn't know it was arranged. When you called the first time, I didn't know anything about it, but I thought it might be from Daniel. That's the only thing, because he's very close to the temple. And I thought he might have arranged it, because I didn't know. You know who Daniel is?
Is that
Daryl. Yeah, sometimes he's called Daniel, sometimes Daryl. And his real name is Dave, so I don't know.
I think Daryl is one of the people who mentioned to
That-
yeah.
That's what I thought. But he never told me that.
He might have mentioned, somebody else might have mentioned. I can look in my notes and I can tell you who mentioned to the museum before we reached out. But I reached out to the museum. I can hear the audio. What did you have for breakfast?
I have every morning a banana, one, what's it called? It's a fruit. It's a date, and 2 spoons of cottage cheese and a slice of bread.
Great audio. Okay, we're good for audio. And I think what I'd like to do a little bit is I need to make one more shift. Could you turn towards the window?
Look out the window, you mean? Or toward the window?
Just yeah, just like that. In fact, I'm gonna come in here, and you'll be looking at me here.
Yeah.
But this way, the light is
Just
perfect.
the right.
Yeah, just the right light. When I'm using the sunlight instead of my own lights. Though I'm not fully happy. You know what? Could we begin to kind of understand what it's like for you to live with memory? And so
It's no fun.
I'm going to be here to try to help you through it. And we can take a break anytime you want to take a break. We can stop anytime you want to stop. But my goal today is to really be here for you and to help facilitate even the beautiful memories of the past, if there are beautiful memories, everything. And
I live with it all my life. That's I've got very much problems with my digestive, and I can't tell you.
and it's all connected, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Do you have any questions about kind of the process of testimonies, or because this is different than an interview? It's not really.
Well, I don't know what you would like to have, because some things I cannot talk about it. I do go to schools every year to talk to children, and nothing younger than the 5th and 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And they have questions and I get answers, because I don't know how to make how to get my program going, because it depends if I can get it in the brains. How much they can, remember do. But they seem to enjoy it, because they're always happy if they invite me and I don't say no.
So, I suppose that's a good place to start, is assume that we don't know anything and that I don't know anything, even though if I know, I will ask you as if I don't know. So you can treat me like you might treat your grandchild. You can treat me as if, I've never heard of any of this history. Of course I have, but feel free to explain every little thing that you feel like, or explain nothing. You know, the choice is yours. Today is one of those days where, well, what I hope we can leave behind is something meaningful for the ages.
You know, I was invited, excuse me, to old girls' school many years ago in Tacoma. And when I came to the school and I saw what happened, you know what I talked about? I mainly talked about my trips to the mountains, because I know they would never understand it. And that, ooh, be careful.
Well, I would love to talk about the mountains also at a, you know, at a certain point. I think that that's clearly a deeply relevant reason that you're here.
That's my cure, that's my medication. I used to hike 5-6 days a week. That was my medication. That's why people start to know me. Because no matter how upset I am, if I go out, I feel better. Even today, if a bad day, there's a dike here. And that dike, yesterday I made it 6 miles on it. And that helps me.
6 miles in 94. So, now, in terms of, I think we're almost ready to. Do you have any questions about the process today, or but do you have any?
Well, I just had one that not long time ago in Seattle, so I listened for the Polish people, and they asked me the same thing as you're asking me, but it went very good. We didn't lose much time. We did it, was done over with. He came, he took us there too. He was so happy. He never realized that I was able to speak to the people my own language, you know that.
And so you did it all in Polish?
Absolutely. Wow. But then they have it but in English what it meant. Because there were a lot of people, elderly, who couldn't hear right and they couldn't understand right. In the Polish they did it because they're born there.
So would you like to do this in Polish?
No.
Okay.
Not. I'm just good in English, and I might have an accent, but then it's normal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever you're comfortable with. If you happen to have songs in Polish that you want to sing or something that happens in Polish, feel free. I don't have to understand everything. Later on, we will work to transcribe and translate if there are things that need to be translated.
No, I would rather just go the way it is. Thank you.
Okay. And again, at any point, if you'd like to stop and take a break, take a deep breath, whatever, feel free. I'm used to the process of testimonies, in particular in Rwanda, and sometimes the testimonies can last 8 hours.
I know, but I hope not too long.
Well, I'm here, and as long as if you want to talk and me to come back on another day for other parts of it, we can do that too. Whatever you're feeling, however you're feeling, what you have strength for today.
Thank you.
So, I think actually, could I have you turn this way? Yeah, a little towards the, and we'll kind of speak as if, actually, you know, I'm going to move the chair back a little bit. Sorry for the movement, it's just a little bit.
But my husband designed it for me. He did design it. It's a Swedish style.
Really?
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Oh, they're old now.
Danish or Swedish?
Swedish.
Swedish. Yeah, I like.
And that's why they want me to do something with Sweden too. But I don't know yet.
Okay. Well, I keep having to adjust this audio, but.
I love Sweden more than the country I'm born in. They've done more for me than the country I'm born with.
Sweden has.
They were wonderful, those people. They're not good, but unusual good. I wouldn't be alive if it wouldn't be to them.
For the Swedes.
Mm-hmm. Very unselfish, very beautiful, very giving. Even if you were walking on the street, people come with little presents. When we came into Göteborg is a person with the boats that come in, Red Cross boat. We were that high in flowers. People throw flowers to welcome us.
Well, I'm sure we'll get to that moment of the Swedes, and I'll remember to ask you about your relationship with the Swedes um, when we need it the most, when we get into all of that today. Do you want to take us back to kind of the beginning of your childhood recollections? Is that a good place to start?
Whichever you need, because it doesn't matter. It's hard for me to talk about it all together, but I made my day. I'm going to be strong, and I am strong so far.
You are among the most strong beings who have walked this earth. That we
Thank
know. We've seen it in, you know, it's not every day that somebody at 76 summits Mount Rainier.
77.
77, man. Take every year.
That's
yeah.
what, yeah. In the shortest time, 19 hours up and down.
See, for me,
I'm going to show you the album when you have time.
I definitely do have time. I used to run ultra marathons.
Well, then, you know, in the marathon, I lived here enough to go to Tacoma for my marathon. And I came on the third 2 or 3 times. My friend, my eye doctor called me up, "How dare you, Bronka? I trained all year." So I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, but for me, one of my favorite runs was through the Cortina d'Ampezzo in Italy, the Dolomite Mountains.
The Dolomite, oh, wow.
I
yeah.
did the Lavaredo the Ultra Trail. It was a 100-mile run through the Dolomites. And I used to run through the mountains. For me, that's also my medicine. After coming home from Rwanda, the only thing that I could do was be in nature and run downhill and let the trees
The power
pass.
out,
And
yeah. I don't think medication, like people take over the counter and this and that, but this is my medication.
this is seeing the beauty of the world.
Yes, I don't see it as much as I used to. I cannot read like I used to, and I kind of, you know, for my eyes. I'm very limited. But whatever I can do, I can't even write straight anymore, but that's okay too. At 94, you can write, you're doing good, you know. So I try, you have to get used to the limits that go on you because you have no choice.
Yeah.
And if you fight it, you lose, you know.
So when you're going up mountains, you're not actually fighting the gravity, you're working with the mountain. Could you talk a little bit about what it's like to work with the mountain?
It was just when Vietnam War came along, and so many people who knew about me say, "Bronka, don't forget to pray up there, you're closer to God," for the boys in Vietnam. And I did. If it went or didn't go, I did, because I was excited. They tried to talk to me. Most of the people knew me. And my guide said, no, let Grandma go. She has no time.
So, this mountain, should we talk about the mountain a little later? And okay.
Yeah.
So could you talk about where you were born, what it was like growing up, a little bit about your family, just really let the memories come of childhood, the sweet ones, whatever you can recall.
Nothing was sweet. Everything was hard. I'm born in a little city called Sundstrom. It was a big Jewish population, and we were limited in a lot of ways. But I went to a Catholic school because going to a Catholic school was easier to get to college. And my parents never thought it was going to be a war. So she sent us kids to the Catholic school. And we had only 5 days because Sabbath we didn't go to school. And then we have to make up for the time we didn't go to school. So we'll ask our friends, Polish Catholic girls, what was all about it. We never got the truth story. They want to laugh at us that we didn't do the work right. So it wasn't easy, but we made it. We did it. And I was in the 7th grade when the war broke out. It was in September.
And before we talk about the war in 7th grade, do you have memories of...
I'm one of 9 children.
Yeah.
And my brother was going to go to France. He was a clothes designer, but he went to the military. And he got killed within 2 weeks in the military. We tried to keep it a secret for our parents so they wouldn't know about it. But a lady came over and said, "Such a beautiful son that you have." And look what happened. My mother fainted, and then she had a stroke. And then she lived for 2 months without soap, without water, to clean people. We were happy when she couldn't do it anymore because we couldn't keep it like she should be kept. So it was very, very, very hard. But you had no choice. You go with the stream, you know. But I never forget it, and I don't want to talk about it. I saw my father go to the gas chamber, and I stayed. I couldn't. He was just like you for me, marching to the gas chamber. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Jewish Bible. And as he was walking, he started to sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, going into the gas chamber. And that was the last time I saw him. But I'm used not to call it to myself because I can't share it with people, and I don't want to share it with people. They'll never understand it. So I try to do the best for what I got able to do. Yeah. And that's the way, you know. Then we closed up the ghetto, and it was horrible. It wasn't normal. At one time there was 2 German men. We went out from the ghetto because we were women. We could put on a babushka, you know, babushka, and go get some bread out of the ghetto. And if a German soldier came by, he had no heart. One soldier came by with a knife about this long, and with blood. And I was with my sister. And so he took Mick out, not my sister, because I was little. And my sister came home and she says, "Mother, that's the last time you saw Bronka." Because we didn't know what the knife was for. When we came into the place to clean geese. And that's he came home with that dirty knife to me when he got it by my shoulder. But every day that you lived, you thought it was going to be your last day. But somehow, the strength of you keep you going. And that's what's so sad.
So do you remember a time when you were little that you weren't living in fear? Or, you know, was this before 7th grade, before the war broke out? Or when did the ghetto happen in your...
The ghetto happened when the war broke out. They separated the people. At that time, we didn't live in the little city. We went to a larger city called Lodz. That's my start. And there was the ghetto there. It was just closed up. And we didn't have no rights for anything. Nothing. No bathrooms. We were completely down to, we got about this much bread a day to begin with. Very little, and then we didn't want to eat, so my father have it. My father didn't want to eat, so we have it, because that's all we had. And my mother was dead, so my sister will put a big kettle of water on it and take that little piece of bread and put it on the water, so everybody gets a little bit of water with the flavor of the bread. So it's very hard to talk about it. But then one day we were all happy. They said, "Oh, they're going to take us somewhere." So everybody was making packs to put things in the pack. And of course, we didn't know where we were going. We went to Auschwitz. When we came to Auschwitz, we were stripped from our clothes, naked. For 8 days we stood naked on the thing, and they used to give us a pen with a dish with mostly water. We were 5 in a row. You next time. So some of the people who had false teeth would take the teeth, put it in the water, so that you wouldn't want to drink it when you saw the teeth in the water. But we used to take out the teeth and drink it because we didn't have nothing else. We couldn't. And then in Auschwitz, the building was like a shed. In between the shed, they were put in some black, but very hot when it's put on, like creosote, I don't know what it's called, and it will drip on the people's shoulders, and they couldn't help it. That's all we were. Just like you keep geese or you keep dogs, there you're going to be, until Bremen, that's a city in Germany, who got bombed, and then they just loaded you to go help out. Can you see me be a construction worker? That's what I was, a construction worker.
In Bremen? In
Bremen. It's a city in Germany. By that time, they were most of the people were older than I am. I was not the youngest, and I could never understand older people. When they come home, and we have to get the houses, the bombed houses, out of the way so they could have the thing go, and the cars go, and the bikes go. And if they saw a plane on the air, they said, "Your Tommy is coming." That meant the English are going to bump. We were hoping that. So the life was very, very, very hard.
So before the war began, you said you were in 7th grade. What was life like growing up in that town? You weren't in Łódź yet.
I was a lot, but by the 7th grade I was in the Wittgenstein by the 7th grade, because we moved to get away from the Polish people, to be more with the Jewish people together.
Could you talk a little bit about that? Why you wanted to be with the Jewish community, and
we all the Jewish people, they might be fighting with one another, disagreeing with one another, but if something drastic come, they want to be together. You're Armenian, hear what Armenian means, 12 Jewish people in Armenian, they want to be with Armenian together. And it was very hard. And my father was in the United States, by the way. When he was 20, he was just got married, and he went to the United States. I have to show you a picture. Can I show you?
Yeah, sure. Watch your head on the
Oh
microphone.
yeah, don't worry, I'm used to the camera.
Okay.
And he started out a little business by himself. It was when he was very young, he was in his 20s. But my mother there were 7 kids, and my grandmother couldn't do it herself. So my mother was the oldest of the 7 kids. So she had to help out. So she used to write him that she cannot come no matter what. For 3 years, he was after her to come, but he wouldn't want to. She couldn't come. She had to take care of the flock for the kids. So my father came back from the United States with a watch, with a sewing machine, name it, to have it ahead of him. And that's the way it meant to be, probably, because that's the way when he went to the gas chamber, I was thinking of all these things that he could have had would he be alive. But
had he not come back.
He did not come back.
And he came back because your grandfather had passed away, and he...
That's by my mother. I have no idea I wasn't born. That was just when they were newlyweds. My grandmother couldn't handle herself. She did a farm. And she couldn't handle it herself. So naturally she was the oldest. She used to do helping. And that's why she wouldn't come.
Yeah.
No matter how he begged her, she wouldn't come. When he was going to Achimbe, my heart broke to pieces, because all this comes to why? So, it's a very horrible way to live the way I live. And I never got to be, look how short I am. I think I got any food, and that made me to be that I didn't grow. I didn't even know when the war ended. I had no idea when the war ended. It was the English who came in to Bergen-Belsen. We had to walk for 2 days in Bergen-Belsen. And then there were 2 SS women, not men, and they were going to burn us. There was a big, like a shed. So they both started to fight. Once it burned, said, don't leave me be, they're going to go to a bad spot anyway. So somehow, they thought that we don't understand it, but we understand. If you can speak Yiddish, you understand German. So anyway, we didn't get burned, but we hiked into Bergen-Belsen. When we hiked into Bergen-Belsen, I can't remember if it took 2 days or 2 nights, I can't remember. But anyway, when we came in there, long before we came to Bergen-Belsen, I used to say to the people, because I was the youngest, something stinks here, something smells here. And they told me, don't be a black cat. Be happy that we're going to a different place away from where we were. And it was people stacked up like fish, dead people. That's something you can never even imagine. And they apologized to me that I knew what they were smelling. And then we were in the Bergen-Belsen and on the floors, laying. But if a person died, if you have energy, you take him out. Otherwise, you slept with them. You were with them day and night and in between. And that's why I was unconscious when the war ended. I didn't know the war ended. The English came in, and they picked me up, and they took me to a hospital. Where and how, I do not know. When I woke up, I could swear on the Bible that I in heaven, because I had a clean bed, I was in a clean shirt. And the best thing, it was a soldier, a German soldier, and the nurse told me, you can do anything to me you want. Well, we would never touch him. We were so scared, And from then, we went to Sweden. Wow. And when we came to Sweden, there's a city called Kalmar. There where the boat lays through. And we couldn't believe it that the people would be so beautiful to us when we were learned so bad about Sweden.
What did you learn so badly about Sweden?
In school.
Oh, okay.
Instead to say Švecia, they say Schwabi. Everything was so down, down, down. Just like the TV maybe 100 years about colored people. It was even worse. And little did I know that because the Swedish people are much taller than European people. And when I saw it, they came that coverall in a mask, in the gloves, because I'm afraid to touch us. And I thought, maybe they were right. Maybe they're horrible people. I could never realize they're normal people because I didn't seem normal until we came to the hospitals. Then I saw the normal people. Otherwise, everything but touched us was with big gloves and big masks and big hats and coveralls, or everything in white. They look like dead people. But so it wasn't easy in no way, but you can't escape the memories. You can't leave them be. There isn't 1 hour in my daily life that I don't think of it, and it's very hard. I mean, so if I'm also in the doctor's care with my stomach, and now we're going to move, so I'm also nervous over that. So, the doctor says to me, Bronka, you're going to improve once you're settled, but right now they still cure me from my stomach, and that happened. We're not having so much food. They fed us 6 times a day. And 6 times a day I vomited. That was in Sweden. So I loved to eat because I was hungry. I never seen food for so long. Yet I know that tray, if I'm going to get that food, I'm going to vomit. I knew that. So the girls, the nurses, they were so beautiful. They couldn't speak to us. But they bought me a very beautiful little chain with a little 4 leaves clover, because they believed in 4 and they put it on a tray for my birthday, which I thought was so beautiful. I couldn't believe it. So I try to learn Swedish as fast as I can.
And you learned Swedish?
Well, yeah, I speak Swedish just as good as I speak English.
So how did you learn Swedish so quickly?
I was desperate because the people were so wonderful. And it's a long story. I went to a doctor in Sweden, and the doctor told me that I should start school. It was a Yiddish doctor. And I said, well, I would have to be on welfare again. He said, yes, you would have to be on welfare. And I said, I'm not born to be on welfare. I want to go to work instead. So I got so much help from people. I got very much help from people. And then you could come to see them, us, if you had a ticket either from the doctor, excuse me, either from the doctor or from a church, I have no idea. So my husband's sister came to see us. It used to be very special. So they always bought us either candy or chocolate, but there were little things to give to the patients, how many we were in the room. And she talked to me, we couldn't speak. Maybe 2 words, we couldn't speak, we just laughed and touched one another. But we were clean, they could touch us. We didn't have any lice. I got even lice in my eyelashes. Did you believe it?
No, it's all of this stuff. When we talk about it, I mean, all of my friends, as I shared with you in Rwanda, have been through certain moments of dehumanization, fleeing and told that they were animals, and when they're sitting in front of me, it's like one can't believe it. But then when you listen and watch a testimony later on and begin to start understanding it,
you wonder how could it ever happen. But you see what happened, I don't know if you're familiar, if you read about it, that the kids in schools were afraid in Germany, were afraid of their parents. And if they were so brainwashed that instead of a cross in the school for Jesus, they had a picture of Hitler. And they would come into the class, they'd say, Heil Hitler, to him. And then he brainwashed the kids. The kids had no feelings. They can kill you just like you kill a fly. In fact, you would think twice. They never thought of it. They came into our house one time. They were soldiers. They got them in with 17. And they cut my father's beard off, half of it. And we were happy that he left it just like that. He didn't cut it with the skin. And that's the way we lived. And it's hard to understand it. And now they all try to go back to Germany, and I can understand how they want to go back to. The Polish people who made the things about me, They want to make so much, they want to pay the money to go to a hotel and be. And I say, if you give me a whole high of gold, I would never go back to Poland or to Germany. Well, but you got your mother buried in Germany, in Poland. I say, no, that's too bad. Probably a house is on her now, but I don't want to see Poland. And now they want me again to come.
I don't expect why people would think that somehow you could forget that place, that you could forget what happened.
You cannot forget it. You can't. Like you says, they come into the house. I was a child myself, but if you were a baby, they take that baby by the neck and throw it down below. If you on the first, and then below was a truck, and the baby fall on the truck. And there's nothing the mother could do because they wouldn't kill her. She would rather be killed, but they couldn't kill her. She wound up to be like I was in a concentration camp, even though her kids got killed that way. They came to the hospitals and emptied the hospitals that way. You can't even imagine. But I can't understand it. Why people from Israel want to go back to Germany. They want to go back to make business there, but is it worth it? If my parents wouldn't settled in Poland, I wouldn't have to suffer so much. Was it worth it? They couldn't take nothing with them. And that goes for every Hebrew. When I talk in Israel to them, I say, I would never go if I would not get a house with gold. Right. Because they should never go. I think Israel was very important for the Jewish people. If they don't support Israel, if they don't go to... I was in Israel in 1948 because they formed a United Nations. And they were not make to go to be part... Because we went there to learn how to do work, how to work like kibbutzen.
You worked on the... You went to work in the kibbutz?
No, I never got to do it because I was married. Oh. But would I be single, I would have gone to kibbutz. And I would have been... I have only one girl left who was alive, she died, who went with me to school, and she went to Russia with her family, and they killed her father in Russia. So we didn't have any rights, no matter where we went, until Israel existed. I know you probably were too young to read about the United Nations. When they formed the United Nations, we thought we have it made, because then they're going to say what is truth or not truth. Why we were punished is because whatever business didn't go good, the Jew did it. Whatever happened, the Jew did it. That was from school to name it. So having your own country, it was, when I was in Israel, they told me that was one gun in whatever they watch it in the front. That gun, he put the rifle to it, and then he went all the way, and the other person did the same thing. Then there were two rifles. They had nothing to start with. Ben Gurion did a job that nobody would ever want to take it over, but he did. And look at what's her name, the one from Chicago. What's her name? I've forgotten her name. The one who came as a teenager to Israel. A female. She even went to the Arab countries dressed like an Arab to talk to. They would share more with the Jewish people. I know her name.
The journalist?
No, she's a Yiddish kid. She came from Russia.
Oh.
What was her name? Meir, Golda Meir.
Golda Meir?
Yeah. Did you ever read about Golda Meir?
Yeah.
She was 12 years old when she came to the United States, and she was a teenager when she went back to Russia. To Israel, she fought for Israel just like any hero would do. And that's the people we needed, because they have more respect for us now in account that we got their own country. They couldn't say you're a dirty Jew or whatever you are, because we got our own rights.
Well, what was it like growing up in a place where you felt that, even before the war?
Well, we didn't know any different. We have to be with it because we did not know any different.
So what was life like, in school? You were, how you were bullied? You were treated like...
We were not treated so well, but when we moved to Lodz, then I went to Yiddish school. I went to the Yiddish Jewish children's school. So then we were treated like we should be among ourselves.
So do you remember as early back as understanding that you were a Jew or that you were different, or no?
I was as a Jew, I was going to, I don't know if you know, it's called a Bais Yankiv. By Sankivis, with the Jewish kids, we used to sing the Torah. Used to sing. There used to be also a Zionist who'll come and have a lecture with us and brainwash us to see we should have our own country, do something for our own country. And it was the most happiest time. And they also taught us how to write Yiddish, the Aleph, the Bais, the Gimel. And they tried to do everything to get the kids up to know, because the older people, they were too upset with everything. So it's hard to even to understand it for a person who, if I used to talk to my son about it, I know he suffered a lot because he learned Hebrew, and he even taught Hebrew in his Sunday school. But he didn't. You can't understand it. If what could be that anybody could be that horrible to treat you, a dog, a cat, a mice is treating better than we were.
So even in school, before the war began, you weren't treated well?
No, not in the Polish school, no. But we got into a school with all Jewish kids. And the street was named the Jewish Street, Żydowska ulica, that was a Jewish street. And that was okay, too.
What was that school like, that Jewish school?
Which one? The one I went later on. It wasn't the best of schools because we didn't have the buildings like the Polish school had. Mm-hmm. The Polish school was very beautiful and respectful, and the Jewish schools were much worse kept, although they were supported by the taxes that you paid, that the people paid. But like we didn't have we started to play baseball in the 5th grade, and it was just in somebody's backyard, but they use it. I'm very fortunate I never got raped. It wasn't such a days in those days, because people go in and go out to be just in between. We didn't have the privacy like the school, in the Polish school, where you have a beautiful place to play and everything was different. And it's just because we were Jewish. That's the only reason. But we were very good in school, though. We excelled in school.
So you knew that you were a Jew, you were treated differently in schools?
Definite.
And go ahead.
Excuse me. Battery is here again. Isn't that hearing aid battery? I think
that looks exactly like hearing aid battery.
So it must be wireless. Hello? Oh, you please hang up. Yeah. We hung up.
So what I think American Jews don't quite understand that not only is there the history of the Second World War, but when we talk about anti-Semitism, American Jews are very insulated, and even if people see devastating massacres in synagogues, they don't think that somehow there's discrimination against Jews in this country.
Very much so. And the worst thing is, my friend gives me a magazine from Israel every month. She's a Christian. She's a lot of Jewish young kids trying to be Jews for Jesus. And that's something, and they don't listen to their parents. I'm sure their parents don't want to happen. Or maybe they want it to happen, I don't know which. But they're ashamed they're Jewish. And that's just a shame, because now you can hear that Israel puts out medication for cancer and different other things. And even though they're also restricted in their own country, but they do their best to go on the top. Oh. It's because we suffered so much, And
it just seems like, no matter what Jews will do in the world or what they will contribute, they will always be considered a population that is okay to
punish. But I think that's going to fade away, because I hear people. I'm very aware of everything. Even though I'm 94, my mind is still as good as probably yours as far as getting things up. And I think it's much better now than it was when I first came here. So people are realizing, because they sent out people in the churches talk about the Jews, because to whom do they pray? They're a Jew. Jesus was a Jew. In all the examples, but they don't get it together the way. And so as long as we're doing the way we're doing in the most important thing, as long as we got our country, that'll help a lot. And each time, like even now, when I'm not happy that our president has made Jerusalem to be the Jewish city, which should be international city, because that alone kills a lot of people in Israel. And Friday nights when they know they're together, which shouldn't have never happened. And I don't think he knew what he was doing to help them out, because when it was a free country, everybody, it belonged to everybody, and the Jew didn't have to be afraid alone. Have you ever been to Israel? He wasn't separated by East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem. It was Jerusalem. Now it's separated whatever they can be. And every weekend, every Friday night, something is happening there, unnecessary. Yeah. So it's hard to, like I say, people, it takes a lot of mentality. It takes people to go through hell to understand life.
What do you mean by that?
Maybe I would be the same way, but maybe I would like to be different than not to be a Jew. Because when I started to work in Sweden, I met a girl, and she could barely speak Polish. But she was Polish. She had a big cross on her. And I said, why do you hide that you're Jewish, or whatever you are? Why do you wear that cross? She would never speak to me again. She was afraid of me. And that's what the people, the young people try to do even now. They want to get away from the Judaism. I had my son go to the Jewish school. He was bar mitzvah. He was brought up Jewish because he's Jewish.
So something about, your childhood, you knew distinctly that you were
different.
And what was that? What it was the way you were treated, it was the way you celebrated. What was life like as a Jew growing up? In the best of your memories.
We were like in a ghetto ourselves, because we respect one another in the Jewish community. But in fact, I don't know if you ever believe me, if a Christian came into your house, you know what challah is? For Friday night you have challah, and you put a thing on it with a Magen David on it. If a girl came in, a girl is a Christian, came into your house and that challah wasn't covered up, that challah was treifel. You know what treifel means? It wasn't, you shouldn't use it as a Jewish symbol. That's how they were against one another. There was nothing wrong with that challah. The person doesn't even see it, but they were so fanatic in order to keep the people Jewish. Otherwise, they would all probably turn 100 years ago, but they're turning now to belong Jews for Christ. It doesn't make sense. But they were so strict with it that by doing so, they maintain it. When I grew up, when I went by the street where there was chazer, when there was pork or whatever, I did 3 times. And that was bought in me. I didn't know why I'm doing it, but I was doing it very religiously in order to separate, to know that you are different. So I don't know who did it, if the Christians did it or if the Jews did it, because it was done.
But it doesn't matter. It just matters that our people have been doing it, and
they survived. We survived. We know who we were, but we don't know now. Like I get this magazine, I can't get over it. I got rid of it, but I can't get over it that so many people in Israel turned to Christ for Jews or Jews for Christ. I can't tell you why they would do that. How the parents wouldn't have something against it, or say, not have against it, but sit down and say who they are.
It's a very strange moment in time where we find ourselves.
Very hard.
And part of me thinks that this is all, in part, a legacy of the Holocaust. To some degree, the long tail of the genocide has resulted in a population that's displaced and assimilated. And as we forget our origins and who we are, then maybe
somebody comes and wakes us up who you are. Did you ever read about the Spanish Inquisition?
Yeah.
Well, you got it right there. And some people would do anything to be in Spain. They're the nicest people. At the time, they weren't so nice. They burned you on the stake. And there's every country is something to remind it. But I was in the Swedish synagogue, that in Stockholm, the Swedish synagogue, and it's very beautiful, but it isn't as religious. They're not fanaticism. So their generation is going to turn just like anybody else, whatever they want to be, because they got a way to brainwash you, spit out when you go by the trifle or the church or things like that. So I think it's both false, but by doing so they kept the Jews together,
So was your family particularly religious? You had 9
Yes,
children.
we were 9 children. Yes.
And what was it like in a household with 9 children? I mean, you were
One room in a kitchen. Yeah, and we at night time we took out it was pullover battle. It's called a pullover means a field. You take the bed and make it open it for the night, and the mud was put together in a closet, and you were functioning like it's all nice, but it wasn't nice. It was hard.
for 9 children, and you were the youngest?
Yeah.
So what is it like being the youngest? Did you have relationships with your siblings?
My oldest sister was married already, and she's a child. Wally, would you like anything?
Are you done?
Oh no, we're just we're still going. Yeah, it'll probably be a couple hours.
You wanna go for lunch, Wally?
You want to break and go to lunch?
Shall I turn off the heat altogether? Shall I turn off the heat altogether, or shall it go?
I thought you said it wasn't working.
No, I couldn't get the light working, so I couldn't change it because it was locked in for children not to get
Well,
burned.
show me later. Okay.
So do you want to have lunch right now?
But it doesn't matter. But he might be hungry. I don't know.
So if they're closing, then we should get lunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, and then we can come back and.
Yeah,
we'll
continue.
come back
Okay.
and
Oh yeah. Why? Because he was in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating.
See, but it's fascinating how you can change a person's mind.
Uh-huh.
Now he worries over me, even though he's just my friend.
He would do anything for you.
Yeah. Anybody.
He really
anybody.
would. Yeah. They're family.
Yeah, and I got several books written about me.
So when people write a book about you, well, okay, let's go back to the beginning. We were talking about what it was like for you to grow up with a family of 9 children. Did you
Wasn't
know
easy.
all of their names? Did you know? I mean, 9 children. You get lost in 9 children. You told me about the room, one kitchen in a room, and you roll it out at nighttime.
Yeah.
What was your relationship like with? If you had a particular relationship with 1 or 2 or 3 of your siblings? Or?
Yeah, the one who was using lipstick, that they didn't see it, I would put lipstick on me. And one of my, it's so sad even to talk about my sister. One of my sisters had freckles, and she had special cream. And when she wasn't around, I put that cream on me and got spanked. So it was a family life, and yet we loved one another. And I would do the dishes. She had dates, she was older. So when the dishes were washed, I would dry them, and I was too short. So I would have a bench, and I put my dish on the bench and dry it, So it was a close family life, even though we were in one another's way, but you didn't feel it.
You didn't feel like you were in each other's way?
No, that's the way it is. If you don't know any better, that's the way it is,
So were you friends with them? Did you love your siblings? Was it
very much? My brother was a designer, clothes designer, and he used to have me make the colors. Because I also could sew nice. In school, we have to make our own costumes for gymnastics. So he'll have me do some sewing, and I'll hide underneath the bed. My name is Bronka in Jewish, and he'll say, "Where's Bronka? No, she isn't in." And I heard every word the minute the way I went out and played. So we did little tricks like that, but we were very close together.
So you say your name is Bronka.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your parents' names and your siblings' names and what you spoke in the house?
Yiddish, only Yiddish. And I write Yiddish.
So yeah, when were you born, and where were you born, and what was life at home like?
It was just like any home that you have never seen before, because it was very small and very kosher, and very. Friday was the best day of the week because my mother had beautiful candle holders that my father bought for her, and the blessing was for the whole, but smaller ones for the younger ones, and it was just. It was a home. It was the love in that home was bigger than the whole United States in that little home. And my older sister was married, and they went to Russia to live, but they had a child also. The child was 2 years old, and the child got killed with my other sister who took it down to my grandma's place. So my life has been very cut in pieces and very horrible. But if I go I'm afraid not to get crazy now when I'm upset with my own house too, but it's very hard on you. Like, now it doesn't bother me anymore, but if I'm seeing kids, sisters and brothers play, I will cry, because it bothered me, But that's life,
You said that it was a home full of love. How did you, and Shabbat was beautiful. Could you describe Shabbat?
Well, we couldn't wait for the candles. We didn't kindle the candles by the time. We looked at the stars. When we saw stars, we kindled. My mother will get the candles. And then she'll make the blessings, and we all say, oh, mine, amen. And then my father was the Rosh. You know what the Rosh means? The head guy. And Friday night was the best night because we had fish and we had dinner, and what was very special, even though we didn't have much before the war, but was enough to make a living.
What kind of jobs did everybody do?
Well, I don't remember what they do. I know my two sisters were working in a place called Krakow, and they used to just come home for holidays. And I also expect some present for holidays. And if I be jumping and hopping, and my sister used to go was a school conference, she'll go for my conference, because in one I was supposed to say a poem, and I waiting for my mama's Mother's Day, and she didn't show up right away. Well, I started to cry when I couldn't see my mother, because I was going to do it for my mother. So it was a very, very get together. We couldn't be mad at one another because there was no space for it. And we was a lovely family. If I say families now, every kid his own room. I got 2 bathrooms. We didn't have no bathrooms. Our bathroom was way to go out in the outhouses. So it was completely a different life. But my husband made me to be who I am, because when he met me, I didn't know anything. I mean, I was just like, I lost dog, or what you might say. And he put me, his family, their family has never seen a Jewish person. I was the only Jewish person they ever saw. They didn't like the Jews, but they didn't know why. And his mother, my husband's mother, I got a picture of it. She didn't like me, she loved me, because she got arthritis when lay down. So I was the only one who will comb her hair, make it look attractive when she was going someplace. Otherwise, she had a scarf on her head, because she couldn't comb her hair.
Yeah. So, but you said you came from a foundation of love. So
yeah, my home was my love, but I got away from it. When I went to the war, my whole life was cut in half. So my sister, the one who had the baby, she went to Russia. And she went to a concentration camp in Russia. Most of the Jewish in Poland became communists. Not because they loved the communists, but the communists used to advertising and write about that all the people are equal, and they believed in it. But when they got to Russia, they found out it wasn't the same. They were in a concentration camp over there, not treated like I was treated, but not much better either. I don't know, she passed away. So, after the war, she passed away.
So even if they felt that they were going to a place where communism was valued, it was clearly second-class citizens.
You know what the shoichet is?
Which is the what?
The word shoichet.
Shochet?
Yeah.
Yeah, the kosher butcher
who kills the animal? Yeah, that's the shoichet. Well, the shoichet's son threw a red flag on the line. He became a communist when he saw all the things what should happen, but did happen and shouldn't happen. So Jewish people, the only way they can be is become communists. Maybe it will be better in Russia. But they didn't know how Russia was. Once they got to Russia, like my sister did with her husband, they found out what's going on there. It wasn't much better.
So when you said that your sister went to Russia and
with her
husband. How did they just chose to go to Russia?
They just put on some like babushkas, babushkas. They put on a babushka, and I don't know what my brother-in-law put on. I would never remember. But they went on the foot to Russia. They walked to Russia. Maybe they got a horse and buggy to take him halfway. They didn't dare to go on a train because there were the communists. It was something that no normal person can understand it or even compare it, how they could make it. It was just like, just like in Germany, none of the people who could stand up and say, let's not do it. You're working with me today, and tomorrow I kicked you, I didn't want to see you. It's so, people believed in it. Germany, if the ones who didn't believe in it, they couldn't change it. When we were working on the roads, they'll ask somebody, the assessment, the soldiers are called assessment, and they asked them who they are, and they all said we are mental sick, or we are not quite right. In Mancos were doctors. In fact, I got surgery here performed on my neck. I don't know if you can see it. I got a growth. Check it here.
Yeah.
Can you see this? How much like surgery here?
I think that, yeah, right there, just
This
under
one.
there, yeah.
That was done with the piece of glass that you found on the road. Not here.
Oh.
in Germany. So you can
That
see
surgery was done with glass from
a
the
piece
road.
of glass from the road, and the woman was from Hungary, and she was a doctor. And her daughter was there too with her. She was lucky to have a daughter, but they probably didn't have lived it because I would have known. But she says, Bronka, if it swells up higher, you're going to be shot. So let me surgeons, you can't do it. So I'm going to do it the best I can. So a piece of glass, she found it, and she cut it up, and she took it out, whatever it is. And then she got me a piece, she found something like a rag, and she said, that will be better than nothing, because if they see it, they might shoot you. And that it healed.
Wow.
So you can never understand the consequences that we lived. There aren't too many people who overlived, but the ones who overlived, the ones who come out from Bergen-Belsen and the other places, they're never normal again. I mean, it disturbed them the rest of their lives. They all lost the kids, they all lost their own lives, they lost their husbands. It was a crazy world. And I think that, I don't know why I can think what I want to say, that it doesn't go away from me, even though 94. But I try to, now I cannot read as much because my eyes, I take shots in my eye once a month. But otherwise I used to, but even now the ability I got in the United States is from the books.
So how did you go from your life being so full in terms of the love in the home to nothing? How did that happen?
It happens very fast, and you have no choice. You cannot. If you want to be shot, say I don't like it. Everything. But there was some of the assessment. Very few will throw a piece of bread at you, like for a dog. I never picked it up because I was afraid maybe his teeth are not clean. Maybe he poisoned it, because I never trust you don't trust anybody. And when it was an alarm, that means the English are coming with bombs. We went to a place. It was like a bunker. It was called in German a bunker. And there were people from the soldiers were from France, and they have to go to that bunker too. We were separated right away. The assessment has to sift us until it was over with. So we lived just like, but you cannot help it. You cannot die. You would like to die, but you cannot die. You're alive. And then I think I felt very bad, because when we were sleeping in Bremen, they got barracks. We were sleeping in those barracks. The three people, one height, the older people will cry all night because we have to work with construction work. At the construction work, there used to be in my place, there was a German who came in with a book, and he says, yeah, I got a jar of applesauce on this in the shelf. So one of us should go and get it. The house was going like it was bombed. And the bombed house was our fault, because the English did it. So we lived a horrible life. And not very many people could ever live and be mental normal.
Yeah.
So it's hard even to, no matter what you write and what you talk, it isn't fulfilled because it's horrible.
So it's hard to, could you describe the moment from when you found out that you had to leave your home and go into the ghetto?
No, in the ghetto you were in the same home, but it was a ghetto. The people who live in they live in town, very nice town. They have to take they came in the ghetto people were little places, and the people who live, let's say, in a place where you're not allowed to live, at the end of the ghetto, those Jewish people had to move into the ghetto. And of course, they never were happy because we were the poorer people. We lived in the ghetto. The richer people had to go down to the ghetto. So there were a lot of problems right there. So you have no choice.
And you moved
Yeah, I
to
didn't
Lodz-
move.
to Lodz when you were little.
Yeah,
From the
from Sandomir.
and Sundstrom to Lodz. At what age do you remember moving?
Yeah, I was about in the 5th grade. No, I was in the 3rd grade.
3rd grade, and then you lived in Lodz for a couple more years, and this is where the SS people could throw something in the street and try to get you to pick it, or that was in the
That
camp?
was a concentration camp. No,
So
in the
what
ghetto,
was
not
life in the ghetto like?
in the ghetto. It was done by Jewish people. And there was the guy who was the head of it. His name was Rumkowski, but a Yiddish guy. And we had this song, Rumkowski, Chaim, Gyotos, Klayim. You understand Yiddish? A little bit. Well, Rumkowski was the head of the ghetto. And he has given us food that horses should eat. But say it tastes good because we have no choice. That was his song.
How does that go?
Rumkowski Chaim, I get us Klayim. Klayim is the wheat was called Klayim. And if you don't like, it was something like that to cheer us up, you know, bank ourselves. And there were so many jokes about it, just to keep our mentality clear. And there were people who used to write. They used to write a ghetto paper, but it was very illegal. But they did it because just to cheer up. But when they started to throw kids from the windows, then things all changed. That was the end of the ghetto. Then we just took out the ones who could work. I don't know how I got to live because I was short. When I be tall like another child, I was very short always. And that they took me to take clean houses when they got bumped. Can you see me with a wheelbarrow? But I did it, and I did all better. And I tried so hard because I want to know what's going to happen to the very end. I know I'm not going to live, but I want to know what's going to happen.
So you didn't believe you were going to
Oh,
live?
nobody believed that we're going to live. Especially when we had to go from Bremen to Bergen-Belsen. You know, it's a long ways. I don't know how long, but we went at least for 2 days. No place to sleep, no place to eat. We just were walking. You never believed you're going to be able to. We thought we were going, and then they were going to burn us. It was like a shed. They're going to burn us. There were 2 SS women, and one of them wanted to burn us, and the other one said maybe we shouldn't do it, and they didn't do it, which was a miracle from all the miracles, and that's why we got to go to Bergen-Belsen without being disturbed, except we walked, which was okay. And if I think of it now, there were people in the 60s, in the 50s, they cried and they complained. I didn't know to complain or cry. I just looked at them. You know, it's good. But the only thing I knew, as I told you, is when I came close to Bergen-Belsen, I could smell the bodies. It was horrible. They were stapled like you put up groceries in a store, all dead people. Have you ever been to Germany after the war? Which city did you go to?
I was in Berlin.
No, Berlin, not the Jews.
Munich and Nuremberg.
Nuremberg, there was we called it a lager, but it was like a prison for us.
Yeah.
With all your friends, and you exchange whatever ideas, and the next day you come into work, and they tell you, get out, Jude, get out, Jew. We don't need you. And here you were friends 2 days before. Can you imagine the feeling?
Can you tell me about that moment? What does this happen to you?
Not to me, but the people who lived in offices in Germany. They weren't living in Poland where I was. They were living in Germany. And they were very close in the offices as engineers, as musicians. They cut off one musician, they cut off his fingers, so he couldn't play anymore. And maybe before they were going to see his concert. I mean, things happen that you can never even understand it. And what bothers me now, that the Jews go back to Germany and want to live there. I cannot say how. It goes to show you that you can never feel satisfied with your life because you don't know what's going to come next.
Right.
I would never go to Germany if I know I'm going to be the Queen of Sheba. You know what I do here? You know how so many people know me? You haven't seen the wives, because did I show you the card that Lou's wife has written to me? I'm going to show it to you.
Oh, yeah.
They're all just so happy with me. I convert people. If I say that people go wrong, I go in between. I take him hiking. That's the best place to talk to him, not to be anti-people. I don't care who you hate, but whoever you hate. I used to suffer very much from the colored people when I started to understand. I went on the bus in Tacoma. We lived in Tacoma when we came here. And I went on the bus, and an older colored lady stood in the bus, like this, to hold on to the bus. And I went over very innocent, and I told her, I couldn't speak English, but I went over very innocent. You were on my seat? And she says, oh, thank you so much. She hugged me, and she sat down, and when I came down from the bus, she slapped me. Not this colored bag, but the one I was sitting with. And I didn't understand. So when I came home, I told my husband about it. And he says, Bronka, what did you do? Did you get unhappy with? And I said, okay, I couldn't even speak the language. How can I get unhappy or discuss anything? Well, what did you do? So he tried everything. So you give that seat to somebody. Who was that somebody? I said, colored lady. That's what did it. So I couldn't understand it, because I thought you come to America, you come to the God's country. You know why I am in America? You probably don't know. I was very happy in Sweden, with a beautiful home in Sweden, and everything was perfect in Sweden. And they started to talk there's going to be again a war between the Russians and the Germans. And my husband came home from work. I was working too. And I said, okay, I'm so happy with gas. I will never go to another war. That's the end of it. My husband locked up the house and went with me to England, so I wouldn't understand the language. And his aunt here in the United States, they called one another, and he said, why don't you come to the United States? And that's why we came to the United States. Now, the parents are dead, but the boy, one of the boys is an architect, a very known architect. He still comes to me once or twice a year to visit. He was just here maybe a month ago. We still keep track, and he's not Jewish, because my husband wasn't Jewish. But the kindness of the people, I wouldn't care what he is. They make me to be healthy. They make me to be Bronka, make the summit. I would be a crippled if I would just go like all the other people did. They wind up in hospitals, in whatever, not normal. And my husband did for me so much that you wouldn't even believe it. When we came to the United States, we couldn't have a job because we didn't know the language. So my husband started to work for an Italian company who does constructions. And he was an architect. So the construction guy, was very close to his mom. He's the oldest son, and his mother couldn't understand, or his father, why he leaves the United States, why he leaves Sweden, why? But he couldn't tell him why, because they would think he's crazy. He's the oldest son too, but. Everything that I got to help is through my husband. I made the summit not by myself. My husband helped me to train. My father-in-law bought my first bike, and he'll say, Bronka, don't go in that tree. Where do you think I went? Right in the tree, because I know how to ride it. So then his brother, Harry, I could talk for days about the family. His brother came up with a big bottle of iodine. You know what iodine is? To take a picture of it and say, people, she's married, but she doesn't know how to ride a bike. Because I didn't know anything. I was just like, you take your child from an institution, which I was an institution. So that's why I'm in America. But we used to go home very often to Sweden. I went to Israel many times. When we come home, I would say 3 months. We went also in the time when it's the best time to work on construction. But got all the time off you want it, because they know that nobody can read the blueprints from any place. That my husband could, so he was a regular worker, but he could read the blueprints, so he never have to worry over a job. So he worked for the company. It was an Italian company for 26 years. He could go home whenever we feel like it. Would he be a regular person, he couldn't do it, because in the winter they don't work. And we became the very good friends with the whole family. In fact, my yard, but they see the little gravel, It comes about the top of the make my husband happy to get something homey because we live in Tacoma. So I went my husband through a horrible life in account of me, but he did it very happily.
So why did he move from Sweden to?
Because I told him that I was going to commit suicide, and I would have committed suicide. I told my husband in Sweden, I'm so happy that we got gas in our kitchen in Sweden, because I would never go through another war. He locked up the house, not the apartment, within 2 weeks. We're going to England. So get me because I wouldn't understand the language.
Why did he not want you to understand the language?
Because I could hear what the news are going to be. They're talking about the war again. See, my problem was the war. I could never go to another war, no matter how I would like to. I couldn't do it. So what was that fly here? That's why I'm in the United States. Although we used to go home quite often.
So he understood that psychologically, if you knew what was going on in the world, then you would...
I would never go to another war. No, I couldn't do it, because then I would be sick, mental sick. You know, life is very complicated, and when you lose the whole home, you lose your parents, you lose everything. Your life has no value. I could care less. If I would know then, but I know now, I could have been going to college because they want to pay for my college. I met a Jewish doctor, not a doctor, he was a lawyer. And you went to Bronka, you can go, because I could help other people out, even the concentration camp, I left the concentration camp. In Sweden, I used to help them out with the papers, whatever they need, because I've learned I'm a fast learner. But I couldn't do more and have my husband's life disturbed. But he never complained. That's why so many people love us, because to come to Oki's home was very special, and he all shared with people. When this deck got to be broken, 2 people make the other deck with the material and everything. That was after Oki died. I got so many friends, and so did Oki had, and our friends still are friends.
Did you want to leave Sweden, or you just...
I would love to live in Sweden, but I was afraid for the war. And I told Oki, I would never go to another war. And that's why we were here. That's why we are here. But we've been home on many. In fact, the last time, that must be about, Oki has been dead now for 9 years. So maybe it's 8 years, maybe it's 7 years. I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me I have to take medication for my nerves. And I said, I don't like to take medication at all. I said, doctor, I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to go back where I come from and see if that's going to help me. So I invited a girl. She's still very close friends. She's a wonderful American girl. She used to go to Africa to help out African people from the church. And I said, Cynthia, if you want to, you can go with me to Sweden, and you can get everything. You can be with my family. You would have to pay for this and pay for that. You get to say Europe. So she said, it's a bargain. So she went to Europe with me. She spent the whole time. We went to Europe. We went to We went to Norway. We went to Denmark. We went to Finland. When we came back, the doctor said, Bronka, your nerve is completely. You improved so much. It was my medication. There's a fly here.
So when the war started,
yeah,
you said already in 7th grade?
Yeah, I was in the 7th grade. I was supposed to go into the 7th grade, but the war started September the 9th. And maybe it started maybe September the 15th, I don't remember, I don't know. But my mother, with the candlelight, finished school with me. And she suffered a lot from my brother, My life has been very, very horrible. But again, if I would sit and cry, I would just be in a mental institution.
Well, I think one of the things that people see in you is somebody who, in spite of everything that
survived.
You survived,
yeah,
in spite of it all, and are thriving to the point that you even can push, and everybody knows that climbing Mount Rainier is not just physical, it's mental.
Not only that, but I'm helping very many people if they have problems. In fact, Daniel, that Daniel Darrell, You know why he moved up here? Because he's gone through a divorce. He went through a divorce, and he didn't know what to do with himself. He went to the temple to get them, because his wife had a policeman coming to the house to get him out of the house. Now, what happened, that's their business, I don't know. But when he met me on the mountain
Yeah.
to a friend. And when he met me, he sort of clinged to me. And I didn't know him, he didn't know me. I went up to Camp Miro. You know what time we got back? But I was going to help him. He said to come back within 2 hours. That's what I used to do. I came back 11 o'clock at night. And all my friends that you see, the cold one, have you seen Bronka? Have you seen Bronka? Go drive around, have you seen him? So the one who lives in Spokane was going to come and look for me. And that way they saw it was lighty in the house. Bronka is okay, otherwise they were going to look for me. And the one from Spokane, he says, I'm sure I'm going to find it. There's no doubt about it. There was a sure, because I help out people like him. So he bought an apartment. He didn't buy, he rents an apartment. He calls me every night to say what he's going to do the next day. And then he says, Bronka, that's what my psychiatrist told me. I should pay you too. And I said, no, I don't want to pay. But he less or more depend on me a lot.
Why do you think that is? Is it that you have a particular compassion for people who are struggling, or what?
Yes, because I went through myself so much, and I survived. And you say people like him with this divorce, he almost fell apart. I mean, he didn't know, he was horrible. He's much improved now. And that's the people, and that doesn't mean because he's Jewish. I don't care who you are. If I can help you out, I do it. I had a doctor who they had, everything is crazy. The doctor was my son's pediatrician. And they had a boy who had heart trouble, and they were going to do a heart operation. And Dr. Brigham called me up if I wouldn't have that kid in my house for a while, because his mother is divorced and he's with a grandma who doesn't understand him. And I said, sure, doctor, why not? So I had the boy with me about 2 months in my house, living with me. And the grandma would call me up. I told the doctor, if anybody wants to visit me, if they let me know. So she called me up, can I come over? And I said, come over anytime when I'm home. So the grandmother couldn't get over, but the boy had improved. He didn't need any surgery. And I'm very proud of it. So I feel as much as I've gone through, and if it wouldn't be for Sweden, I wouldn't be alive. So if I can help anybody, I help from all my heart. I don't care who you are or what you are, I help. Even the Germans, I'll help them.
Why? Where did you get that from? That the desire to help, where does that come from?
I don't know. Maybe it's from my parents. It's hard to know because I didn't get to know my parents as a grown-up. I don't know. I have no idea.
So you don't know if your parents were like this? Or?
Maybe they were, I don't know. I was too young to be able to judge life. But I went through, it changed me completely. And I got here a German friend, which she says me, she hugs me, and it's okay. But I got it, yeah, exactly. We'll push her away, but I don't. But when she had trouble, I don't know, with her daughter, I told her what place to buy, and she bought it, and I taught her how to ski, and she's skiing, so she's back to life too. I'm always going to help people because there's nothing worse when you are in trouble and don't know where to turn. That's the worst yet the way I was, because I was supposed to be mental sick, and that's why without shoes, with a long dress. When you were short, you got a long dress. When you're tall, they just throw it in the train for you to put it on when they're going to take us from a place, Bremen, where we have to work there. So I understand people more than a psychiatrist can do. And I'm happy can help me. We only live one time, you know that? I wish I could have helped my son. My son had cancer for 6 years. And he came here for his father's funeral. And the funeral for him, the superintendent of the park have chosen when my husband should be buried. And then the levayo, you know what levayo means? What do you call it? Where you bury somebody, what do you call it? I forgot the word.
The grave.
The grave it was done in the park, in a very beautiful place. There were about 600 people. And Bill, the one who lives in Spokane, and his wife made a film. It was going all day long, that film. So people coming went. There were a lot of people. I don't even know what it looked like because I was outside. But you're better off to be blind and deaf and help out people. You'll never go wrong on it.
I think one of the you've seen too much.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do? You speak to the idea that when you see, rather than being blind in the world.
You shouldn't be blind if you can help it. But I wouldn't want to risk my life. You see, I wouldn't want to risk. They're gonna kill me if I do. I would tell the people if I can help him, I would help him. But I wouldn't give my life because I feel I've given my life just by being Jewish. I've given my life. You see, when my son was bar mitzvah, my son knew Hebrew enough to teach Hebrew. When his teacher from Hebrew was going, he was a doctor. When he was busy, he'll ask my son Alan to have the service on Sunday. There was Sunday school. So I feel that I've done a lot, that I didn't let the religion die out, because I'm very much with the religion, because anybody who comes to my house become Jewish friendly.
You were targeted for elimination because you were a Jew.
Yeah.
And therefore, would it be safe to say that one of your acts at fighting that genocide, fighting that elimination, is raising your children, your son as a
my
Jew?
Son, not only my son, but look at Wally. Wally couldn't stand. He didn't know nothing about Jews. My father-in-law, I was the first Jew he ever met, because he lived. My husband is born in the northern part of Sweden, where there's 3 months daylight, in the other months dark. And they're very happy. Those people are extremely happy. They live a different life that we do. They can function. I admire everything, you know. And I wouldn't want to live there, but I thought that they're very, very special people, that they can function and be happy and help out. They get together. I don't know how they do that, but when my husbands were young, they used to get together and bake bread for everybody, for their houses. 3 or 4 families to get together and bake bread. And outside will be a little house where they will keep that hardtack. You know what hardtack is? Mm-hmm. It's a very thin bread. It's almost like matzah.
Oh, okay.
Except it's made from whole wheat. And they bake it, and they divide it, how many people bake it, and divide it. You know, when I was in Sweden, when his whole family has died out. When I was in Sweden, his youngest brother was still alive, and he asked me if I like hardtack, and I said, yeah, I like hardtack, but I hardly ever buy it. I would bake it if I had my things. So during the night, he made me a roller pen. It's a piece of art. I've given it away because I'm going to move. And he made me how to bake it, so I would be able to bake it. They share, because they live in a very cold climate, and they share things. So maybe I got to be that way. I like the Swedish way, even though they were against the Catholic people. They weren't allowed to build a church in Stockholm, but now the Arabs can build mosques. Things have changed. See? So it just depends what time of life you live in what country. But it goes to the same thing. If you have a country, you got the rights. We didn't have any rights because we had no country. If you have stepkids, I don't know, I've never had stepkids, you would first get your stepkid out before you're going to get out your own kid. And we were stepkids in every country we live, except in Israel. And did you know, I don't know, you're probably too young to know, when the first people started to come from Israel, like from, I forgot, when they blocked the people.
From Ethiopia?
Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
The people in Israel didn't like him.
Yeah.
They made fun of them because they couldn't write, they couldn't understand, and there were big friction beside it. And I think Golda Meir cleaned that out, because she cleaned out malaria, and she cleaned out that we are all alike no matter what we look like. And that's something very few people remember anymore. But every book that she's written, too bad. I got some books that I want to show you. Oops.
Oh, sorry.
Did I spoil it?
No.
I just want to show you that I got you.
And should I get you a cup of water or something? Because
my mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I'm going to take it. The divorced one, his father and mother divorced. And his mother remarried to the guy who does our taxes. And the boy grew up, he's 42 years old, but he grew up with his father. And he's just like it's something missing. He used to hike a lot, but he doesn't like people around.
Yeah.
And it's a many things he didn't like that. He's a Bronka. I can't believe it. I'm going to have that house. You can come anytime to the house. And I'm sort of, I said, but I tell him to do, anything that you tell me to do. And I told him I'm going to get him some dishes to leave it when I go.
You're so thoughtful, even on your way to a different home.
I'm just going to have one room. I'm just going to have a living room, and a bedroom, a kitchen, and a bathroom. I'm going to show you where I'm going to be. You can come visit me. $50 to get somebody to work with a thermostat.
Yeah, who knows how to fix a stove like that?
Well, you're not supposed to fix it, but he fixed a thermostat. They were going to charge him $250 to come up, and he spent him on the sit the whole day. He fixed it. He was very good at electronics.
Because he was an engineer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he and his wife, when they saw me, the newspaper came up all over the United States about my picture in it. And I got pictures too, but I have to all packed, it's all down there. So he said, I have to go meet that woman. I just have to go meet that woman. So he came in with his wife, and I was very nice to them. Then she got sick. She passed away. She had the cancer. I think she's cancer. I tried this. But anyway, she used to tell me, Bronka, I get so depressed because I sit and see all the spider webs, and I can't do nothing about it. And I said, I'll fix it for you. I says, Bert, her name was Bert. And I says, Wally, why don't you go into the first church, synagogue, any church, and talk not to the people, but to the preacher, or the rabbi, or the priest, and ask them to get you help. Yeah. And he got beautiful help. He got a lady who comes once a week for 2 hours, $40, and she has his keys from the house. And her religion's different too, but she would like to make Mick be her religion. She loves Mick. And that's the way, so he got the house always clean. And he told you, I have my own room, my own bathroom. I have nothing to do with the house. So he's very supportive because I helped out his wife a lot.
So why do you think they came to you in the first place when they saw that you had summited?
They couldn't, because I'm 77 years old. How many people can do that?
So can you talk a little bit about that? What is it like to summit Mount Rainier anytime?
I'm going to show you the book.
Let alone summit Mount Rainier when you're 77. I'll hold off with the question until you get back. But even, and I'll look at the book, but...
Must be this side. So this is my guide, Jason, and he's stitching. He just retired this year. He's stitching computers in Puyallup. A very wonderful person.
And this is August 31st, 2002.
Yeah, what he wanted to do, he wanted to be 77 years old. So I would have never gone in that late of the year because it's dangerous. But he says, you're going to make it. I watched you for 20 years. So I know you're going to make it. And he made this for me
14,411 feet.
See, look, this I'm eating my lunch. But say here, this the weather gets like this when it gets summer here on the summit. But you're gonna see the summit's just little by little. Here's my photographer. He's a young boy, and we're gonna start out,
So that's almost 17 years ago.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Like it was yesterday, or?
No, I still hike a lot. Last year I took up Daniel to Camp Miro, and I took up I got so many things. You know what to buy me? To say thank you? Magen David with a gold chain. But I cannot put it on because I cannot do it anymore. It takes me too long to get into a tiny hole.
Look at this snow. So you had to go on crampons?
Oh, yeah.
The whole way?
Not the whole way from a certain, but this here, this takes a know-how to do it. So this is a leather because it's too high and it's crevasses, it's holes underneath this here, a big holes about this wide. Once you go in there, you never get out. So they pick up a ladder, like you go up on the ladder, and you go on the ladder, and he turns his face, his Bronka, are you scared? And I was very scared. You know what I've told him? Well, Jason, if you're not scared, why would I be scared? I didn't know what else to say.
Wow. And you hadn't been this far yet at that point.
I'm not up at the summit, but it's very close to the summit.
Yeah.
But I'm not but a lot of people, in fact, there's a guy here who's a doctor for trees, and he came to one of those crevasses. He turns, he'll never go any further. He goes, and so it was cute the way he says, aren't you afraid? He made that album for me too.
Oh.
See, and here I take off some of my clothes because he told me, oh, it'll be too hot for you. Take it off, it'll be easier to go because the sun was shining.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, don't throw away my clothes because I need them. He just threw them away. And he had them washed and pressed and brought them back to me.
Ah.
So wait, this way.
Or this.
No, you're upside down with this one. So the ropes, it's
Yeah.
about 4 feet a rope between you and me.
Mhm,
That way, if you fall, I wouldn't fall with you. And this is called sun cups. They also come out another month. They'll be out on high elevation.
Sun cups, and they
Yeah.
harden like that.
They're hardened like this, and it's very for a short person. You're very scared because you never know about this. The side where you put your foot down, how far you're gonna go, and what you're gonna do.
That's the
And
glacier.
This is the glacier. She melts during the day because it's warm from the sun, and then in the morning she gets to be like this. You
Beautiful.
see. And they say when I walk, I'm I'm short, so half of my body is inside. And he kept saying, "Bronka, get out, straighten up." And I say, "I'm gonna do it the way I like to do it, otherwise I won't do it."
And have you seen that glacier melt over time, smaller and smaller and smaller?
It does, because we used to go a place where we used to just to go. We used to go. It used to be a wooden bridge, and we used to hike there and ski there, and we couldn't do any more because the glacier's going away. So here it's a very dangerous. In fact, 2 people got lost not long time ago there.
Look at this glacier
Uh-huh.
with snowpack on top.
Well, you're going to be
It's
surprised
beautiful.
as you come further. Look how tall he is in the snow, and me, he can barely see me. That's how tall the snow is. And not regular snow, but it's,
Sun cups.
sun cups.
Do you ever want to go back up here?
I would have liked to go back, but everybody who knows me said if you break your leg, not to do it. Everybody
Yeah.
talks me out of it, except Jason. I haven't talked to Jason about it yet.
Jason
He's
probably wants to take you up, I'm
Oh,
sure.
he would be happy to take me. But anyway, this one here, there's a place where you can you can write down your name in your book. So he wrote down our names, and then he called up his wife, and I called up my husband to say we're okay because we don't have too far to go to be on the summit. And you see this jacket? That's a jacket of nylon, and he didn't know that nylon. I'm too very light, so the nylon picked me up and put me down with the wind.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to tell him not to upset him because he tried so hard with everything. But I said, Jason, I think I'm going to take off that coat. I want my own coat. Whatever you want, you can do, he says. I took off my coat because I was afraid. I didn't want to tell him why, because he said, let's go back.
So once you're above the tree line,
Well, you left the tree line a long time ago.
Long time ago.
When you're at Camp Mirror, you leave the tree line before you get to Camp Mirror.
how many people get up to the summit annually? Do you know?
Right now they're going to rescue yesterday they were talking about they might rescue today. There's a group of people of 6, they know what to do, but the weather changed and they couldn't go one way or the other.
Right.
So on the news they said they're going to rescue them probably today, because they might be able to go up there. I asked some of my friends, look at here. And this is a very interesting thing. This hill goes this way, and it also goes the other way. So you're gonna see it in the next picture. I asked Jason here, see this hill? This hill goes from two ways. And I asked over here, and I thought he would say no because that's the way they go. And I said, Jason, wouldn't you feel better if I would go this way? And he said, why do you want to go? And I feel more secured. Okay, let's go this way. I could do it. He was so proud.
He let you choose.
And I'd never been this. But see, he says, I watched you for 20 years hiking, Bronka.
Yeah.
So he told me, shouldn't I give you a lesson? I said, no, I would never go up to the summit anyway, because I wouldn't spend the money to go up to the summit.
It's expensive.
So I got a package about this big, and everything was in it. Whatever you need for the summit was in it. And of course, after that, I still get all my clothes free.
So was Jason really supportive, not just in the guiding, but he really pushed you to...
He pushed me, and he also met I got to meet his mother, I got to meet his aunt. Look at
How
this.
did you become close with Jason?
Jason became close with me. I had nothing to do with Jason. He watched me. So they go up
He just literally saw you hiking.
for 20 years. He said, I watched you for 20 years, and I know you can make it without. But the day before you go, you're not going to go anywhere. You know what happened? I had company. What did I do? I had to go. So he came over. I didn't expect him. I wouldn't have gone. He came over with something. Even it was a sweater for my husband, with something. And he said, where have you been, Bronka? And I said, I've been up to Camp Mira. What? You can't go to the summit. And I said, well, that's too bad. I'm going to go below the summit.
Go anyway. So you went to Camp Muir the day before you summited.
And you're not supposed to go at least for 2 days. Look, Bronka up here. And if you slip, you never come back.
Yeah. And where is this belay going to?
This is going to the summit. We are close to the summit.
And
now.
the belay stays up there? Or no, the rope people...
the rope, we are roped up here too.
Just to each other?
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, he's jumping, the poor guy is jumping from one place to the other.
Right.
Not Jason, what's his other name?
Jason Edwards.
No, that's
Ryan Stevens, yeah.
Ryan was jumping from one place to the other because he had to take the pictures. He was in a worse situation than I was.
He's photographing all of this.
And he was in seventh heaven. He says, Bronka, you did so much for me. Because he's never make a trip in one day. And I said, I'm not going to go for days because I don't want to carry it. Look at when the sun comes out. It's all greenish.
Mm-hmm.
The colors are just so beautiful. And look up here.
These are beautiful. These little formations.
I think for me, this is beautiful because when you add it, you can believe it that it's true dirt with the snow.
Yeah. We look at it every day from Seattle. Zuzu, my daughter and I were looking out and we said, hey, Zuzu, that's where, do you know what mountain that is? And she said, Mount Rainier. I said, do you know what that is? She's like, that's where I'm a junior ranger. Literally, she told me.
Yeah,
she remembers.
It's wonderful. And they had, that's just in the last 3 years or 4 years that had women rangers, younger people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they have lessons. Look at the sun coming out.
Can't believe this is the top.
You haven't seen the top yet.
Okay.
You're going to be surprised with the top. This is the top. Would you believe it?
Wow.
Would you believe it? It's completely no snow.
No snow right on the top because the wind?
What? The wind and also the vents, the hot vents.
Oh.
And that's what melted. That's Jason and his wife, and Oki and his wife.
17 years ago. Wow.
And this is my photographer,
Ryan.
I invite him for lunch. We're here at the back, in the back door, having lunch together. But this one's very interesting, this picture. This picture is done on the top of the shell. This is at the 10,000 elevation. That's Camp Mira. And on this roof, that's the roof in the shell, to get in there, you can stay there overnight. And I found quarter, 75 cents on the roof. And the people couldn't believe me. And this is a place where the workers have the tents, not the one who work up there, and it's a dark building. And that building made me last year that I came back so late because so many people were there want to meet me, take pictures. I mean, I couldn't say no.
So why is this mountain? Why is climbing? Why did you move so close to the park?
My husband, my husband couldn't wait to get away from the town. He hated the town. He's born so way north of Sweden, you know.
So he was trying to recreate for himself a kind of childhood.
Feeling that he's still, and he enjoyed it. And you know, no, there were people. Somebody came from China. They're tourists. They ran after miles to take a picture of him because he died when he was 93 years old. But he would look. You will see him in pictures. He looks like he's younger what you are, because he was so much in condition. He could swim. He could bike. He used to rent 2 bikes in one. So because I couldn't bike. So he biked and I was behind him on the same bike, just go with my wheels. But he was very much sportive. This is a group of people that we go every Monday, different people.
Oh, this was the group that came on Monday? Okay.
You know what this is?
Fox?
Yeah. There's a blonde fox and there's a blue fox. That's a blue fox. And sometimes they come
It's
down.
like 2 feet away.
Yeah, right by the car, but they have the babies very early. So they have no food because it's still full of snow.
Mm-hmm.
So they come down to the parking place, beg for food. And people throw away a piece of bread or whatever just to take a picture. So that's to get so close. And that get also killed because people think they're dogs from a distance and they go closer to them. Wow. So this girl has cancer, and she had cancer now for the last, I would say, 2 years. And she's still around, and we try to help out. She visits me every once in a while.
So everybody climbs a mountain, almost symbolically.
The
ones who climb with cancer, that there's like
She's better now than she was 2 or 3 years ago with the cancer, but she went through. But I want to show you the waterfall. Go back to it. Have you ever seen a beautiful waterfall like this?
Is this which one is this?
That's a waterfall. Not in the mountain. Not at a different mountain.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But you drive up to Paradise, you can see it.
Yeah.
We would have gone to Paradise today, but we thought you might not have the time. That's my group. She's my very, very best friend. And this group, you know how they have to be a group. It's interesting. I was asked to talk and sit in the library. So I went down. She's the head of the library. She's a librarian. And she's a beautiful person.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, well, if you're so good, would you take us for a walk? And I said, sure. And been walking ever since once a week on Mondays.
And what's this photograph she's got in there?
Oh, they take pictures all the time.
There's like a gentleman in the bag of almonds.
This lady fell. She was she was good. This lady fell because she was going with 3 dogs, and she fell. She's never been the same since, so she has a hard time to get back to us. Yeah. So she'll call me up, and I'll take her out sometimes for a mile, sometimes for 2 miles, depends how she feels. And not on hills, just straight, so she gets straightened out. So here we made a trip one time. So is it Sunrise? I can't read it.
Yeah, Sunrise area trails, yeah.
And the people are so happy when I get groups of people that take out. This is my friend with the 2 dogs. And this guy's from India. This guy works for the park. If he sees me, he can be on the roof. He come down from the roof and pays for my lunch.
Hmm.
And he take people for pilgrimage. And I don't know who this is. I cannot see very well.
That's you and Jason.
Jason.
Yeah. Jason's without short. Yeah, look at this. All those rocks. All the stones.
It's a place. It's close where there's a memorial for the soldiers who went on a plane to pay at the whatever, and the plane fell down, killed them all.
Oh, jeez.
And this, I'm invited to her birthday in the church. And this is, I don't know what that's. These 2 people are Polish people from Poland, and they just worship me here in the United States. He's got the same. He's an engineer for boats. I both eat here. That's my dining room. We all lunch here. But his home is so beautiful. You've never seen homes that nice in Seattle.
Yeah. I've seen a few gorgeous homes that are overlooking the Lake Washington from
Yeah.
Mercer Island.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
gorgeous
I know,
architecture.
I got so many letters from people.
Well, I think I
So-
should ask you, why climbing? Why your husband moved here to be closer to the mountain, to be closer to his life in
To get away from the
Sweden,
city.
to get away from the city. But you embraced it. It became as you said, your medicine.
But you know what my friends in the city told me? Bronka, anytime you want to come down, my house is your house. And I thought I might need it. But what I did, I knew that my husband worships every step he makes up here, even though it was very primitive. I joined everything. I joined the people. I got to be a volunteer. And I got so many friends that I still correspond with the rangers not the rangers, but the head of the rangers, the park, what do you call it? Not ranger, he's the head guy.
Yeah, the rangers, the park.
No, not the rangers.
forestry,
The superintendents.
Yeah.
I still corresponded with the superintendents who retired 8 years ago. And they still, for Christmas, I get a whole Megiddo for
So it
Christmas.
really became not just your home, but your community.
Yes, very much so.
Why?
Very much so.
In what way was hiking significant to you?
I think that hiking does so much for people. For one reason, you never find people who are hiking when they're selfish or talk about you. They want to be part of it. They want to be part of you. They want to help you. Look at these people helping me. They would never be here in town. They would never have time for me in town. You know what I mean? But they take the time off from town and they come to help me. And there's so many people. There's so many people. You've no idea.
So why is hiking one of those sports?
Because your whole head relaxes. The nature, the trees, the movements, the flowers, the people that you meet, because nobody lives there. The mountains are purely mountains. So the people who live on the mountains not on the mountains, who visit the mountains, they became your friends. I had mail. Too bad that I got everything turned up because everything is empty because I'm going to move. But I have letters from all over the world to my hike. Because the furthest person who wrote to me was from Japan.
Could you ever imagine being in a situation where people from around the world would look to your climb and say, this meant something to me?
Well, it's because we got TV, we got internet. That changed a lot too. Like when I have not unlocked the door, and people, I saw you on TV, I saw you on the internet. And that's just like that. It's a lift for them.
But why is it significant for them to see you climbing this mountain? What does it mean to them, do you think?
They might do it someday. In fact, the girl made the summit this week. And her grandmother is my age, my friend, and she says to my friend, the one that I showed you in the book, tell Bronka that I made the summit. If it wouldn't be for her, I would never go that far. She made the summit in one day, just like I did. And she's 31 years old. Don't forget to tell Bronka that I made it. I made it just the way she did in one day.
So how does it feel to you to know that people are pushing themselves to
be like me, yeah. There are a lot of people pushing themselves. A lot of people. I'm going to show you here a picture that you wouldn't believe it, that I still got it out here, that's old. I would not disturb it.
Any of them had done anything quite as extreme as your one-day climb to the summit of Mount Rainier?
That isn't one list. I got many of those because they're
Yeah.
packed up. But I always think of it as who I was in the Germans' eyes and who I am in the normal eyes.
Can you describe what and
I don't feel any bigger. I don't feel any better. I don't feel any, I am who I am. But I feel, I can only tell it to you because you're Jewish. Wouldn't you be Jewish, you would never hear it sing. It meant a lot to me, the people knew, because my first thing was I'm Jewish. And they just changed their mind. I could make a lot of goyim become Jews, if I would want to. And I want to show you my husband,
So
my son.
I see. There's Alan. Yeah.
There's Alan. That's the principle. That's the principle of the park. They opened a new wing and I was invited. And you see,
Yeah.
he
I see the inn that's up at the
at Paradise.
Yep.
And I'm dressed up because he told me he's going to invite me. So I'm dressed up as sweater and nice little hat.
I love
nice.
that. I like his uniform too.
Yeah. He had a regular, just a tie that he's got from the park. You have been up to the upper side?
Mm-hmm.
He just on the place to go up the steps. They opened that building that day.
So,
I'm going to tell you here something that you have to listen to it. This woman is very known as a writer. She's just retired. But when she saw this bear, she almost dropped dead. See the bear, how close he is to us?
And you weren't nervous?
No.
Because
I went to hell. What can happen to me? Nothing. I'm not afraid of it. That's why I could go to the summit without feeling like scared. Oh, this and that. I'll go. So what? I went through so much in my life that doesn't mean nothing for me. If I don't live, it's so what? I lived. You know what I mean? I don't. What would I say? I'm not afraid to do things because I've done worse things. Being in the concentration camp, I've done worse things. I never thought I'm going to live through it. And I lived through it. Why would I be afraid of life? Nobody's going to shoot me. Nobody's going to kill me. So that's the way I live. And this family, I took everyone who was 30 years old, I took them up to Camp Miram. So they bought me a little 4-leaf clover, Jewish, what's it called? The Yiddish, the star, not the high.
Magen David?
The Magen David, yeah, with the Che in a very nice company. I never wear it, but I got 2 or 3 of them from different people, and they didn't buy me a cross. The fact is they buy me Magen David, see? And that's why I appreciate it. They have to go out of their way to do it.
It's like you're being an ambassador in some way.
I'm supporting things, yeah.
Yeah.
With my own way I do things. A lot of people, it's funny. For my 90th birthday, the girls got together and they bought me a pack. And I said, well, I got so many packs. Bronka, this pack is a special pack. And this pack was measured for your size. So they go out of their way for it. And that's what gives me happiness.
You're in the middle of a national park, effectively, and you're kind of not many people around here, but it seems like you have, so many visitors and letters, and you couldn't possibly feel alone up here.
No, I don't. It's the only thing I'm afraid of. That's what everybody asks me. The only thing why I'm doing it, if I move away from here, is if something happened, and I wouldn't be able to correspond. And yet, they bought me. I got the light. All I have to do is push the button. I get help.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be. You see, we had 4 feet of snow this winter. But 4 o'clock in the morning, somebody was cleaning my deck because he knew he had to go to work. I don't like that because it's too much sacrificing,
But people feel good when they're able to support
Probably, but I feel like a guilt. He would be in his family, he would be with his wife and kids, and he used to be here digging me out from the snow. And I have to be digged up because I can go, 4 feet of snow. It's how
But
quite.
he wouldn't do it if he didn't want to.
Of course, I know that, but still, I'm very independent. The war made me to be very independent. I can go on my own if I want to.
Yeah.
And even though I'm appreciative, but I don't want them. Now they're going to come there because there's 3 swimming pools, people, and there's a big gym room, and they're all going to. And I know they're going to come. But if they come, it will be fine because if I need help, it's right there.
Yeah.
That place is divided. Be sure that you watch it on TV, on your internet, because it's divided. You can be very active, and there's a place to go to be active. And there's a place where people are older, they cannot do so much, is another place.
Right.
And there's a place that they cannot do at all. There's another place, bedridden. And then they're out of money. They wouldn't kick them out either. So it's an organization. Nobody owns it. It's an organization who has it. And I was lucky. Wally got it for me, not me. He paid in $2,000 for it.
That's great.
Well, I'm going to pay it back to him, but when I sold the house.
Yeah.
So people tried to help me, and they formed a group of people here that, if, like I say, I always know I'm going to go to the doctor, I'm going to go to whatever needs to be done, but sometimes I don't want to ask, like they haven't got the date, I won't ask him. I'll be without it, but I wouldn't ask him. I don't want to use people because each one has its own home, whatever, and I don't want to put myself to that you have to do it for me, you know? So that's the way it is.
Well, you've lived your life as very independent, at least this latter part of your life that you're talking about without your husband.
Yes.
And you've been very independent.
For the last 9 years, yeah.
The last 9 years. But I'm still just curious about this, the singular journey of being, I mean, and when you're climbing, whether you're with other people, it's still a individual journey. You're still on your own. You're still inside your own mind.
Oh, everybody is in his own mind, but I share it. People go down, oh, Bronka, it's so beautiful to see you. Have you seen that hill? Can we go together next week? Would you have time for me? And that gives you, the oxygen, you might say, to your body, because people need me. Can you say anybody who be needed at 94? No, very few. And I want to write a book about it.
What do you mean that 94 people don't need you?
People don't do it. They cannot do it. Now, if I would be sitting at home day after day after day, people wouldn't want me. Young people want people. Even though I'm old, and I know they boss them, but they know if they go with Bronka, they're saved. And if they're going to we got lost one time. We were very good hikers, but we got lost and we didn't know where to go. Instead to go straight ahead, we went down on the way down. So we helped one another out so beautifully. Yeah, I had to go to the bathroom. Somebody helped me out with everything, and they got me back in. Then one of the people, there were 4 people, 2 men, 4 people, 4 women and 2 men, with 6 people. And one of the men said, Bronka, and I was the oldest, I'm most oldest. He said, Bronka, can I go up and just explore, even though it's dark, I got my headlight, and if I don't come, in 10 minutes I'll be back if I can't find it. And he found the place where to go. Instead to go straight, we went down. We didn't see because it was night. But we kept together. At the same time, my husband called up the park that Bronka isn't back and it's so late. So they had formed to go look for me. See, that's the way it works. So either way, if they go with me, they're protected. You see?
Yeah, right. That makes sense. Because if you're not seen, then somebody knows to find you. Yeah.
That's what Oki said when he mentioned that Bronka hasn't been back. She isn't back yet.
Yeah.
And Daryl or Daniel, I took him up to Camp Mirror one time last year, and I didn't come back till 11 o'clock at night. So the one from Spokane started to call the people. I called Bronka, she doesn't answer. No, she isn't home, it's dark. So they drove around, then they're going to form. They were going to go up to Paradise, they're going to find me. But then this 11 o'clock, they found me. The light was on. And that's the way they take care of me,
It's a good community.
Yeah.
So why is hiking, I mean, you described it being in nature is like medicine.
It helps me, yeah.
Why?
I can talk to myself. I can find a person who stops me, can talk about something. Other words, it heals you. You take drugs. Why do you take drugs? You're going to get sick eventually. You're going to think to it, and you won't be able to help it. You'll sell your shirt to get more drugs. Well, the way I do it, I get my drugs from nature.
And also, there's good spirit on the mountain. People are in a good mood on the mountain.
Always, because it gives you a lift. It's beautiful. There was a lady that I talked to. She was from England. She's been to see a mountaineer 5 times from England. She's a school teacher. She never got to see it. The only time she saw it was inside the building. So it happened that way too. But she wasn't. I'm going to try it one more time. It didn't kill her. She's going to see it one more time. She wants to touch it one more time.
And when you moved here, did you know how much you liked hiking?
No, I was a city girl. You never saw me. We were just talking the other day. I was mostly in high heels. Even my slippers were bought in New York when I lived in Sweden with high heels. Because I'm so short and, no, I never thought of it. But my friend used to say, why don't you come back if you feel lonesome? Because you can also come back. I lived in Tacoma, and I never wanted to come back. So by not wanting to come back, I joined the people here. And it's a joining to do it. And I got used. I'm going to get me some water. So he didn't like it here.
But you raised your son in Tacoma.
Yeah.
Um,
So this is his word. That's Alan's word.
even this.
No, the one in the center is from Olympia. In Olympia, we got it. He wanted to do it in color for us.
Yeah.
But when I went in black and white.
When you summited, and you had summited before,
No.
so 76 was your first.
77
was your first summit.
Yeah, Jason, my guide, he used to watch me. And each time when he watched me, he always goes up with people because he was a guide. He guided people. And when they stop to have a lunch or a drink, because you stop on the ways to get your breath back, get used to it, he also represented me for the people. Not when I was there. He said, this is Bronka. She comes here quite often. When I left, he told them how old I am and how old her husband is and what I do, that she can be on the mountains 4 times in a week and all that. So that's the way the people got to know me. And now I don't go as often now because I don't drive. But the people are still there, come by, Bronka, this person asks for you, that person asks for you. They want to come by. That nobody come, don't let that one come by, I won't be home. Because I don't want. And one couple came here years ago. Anyway, after Oki died, she called me up. Her son graduated as a judge. And she want to represent him to Bronco. I don't know from which state she was even. It was quite late. So she stayed in the park. She asked the park where I live. And they told her they're not allowed to do that because they know they're not allowed to give you your phone number. So she went down to LB. I know what she had lunch, I know what she had, but in LB, they didn't know why she asked, so they got me the number, and she got me the whole thing. So she called me up. It was late in the winter, so it must have been maybe 8 o'clock. She said, Bronka, I know it's late, but I would like you to meet my son. Could I come up? And I said, oh, sure, but I wasn't sure who she was, because I didn't know the name or anything. So what I did, I put a spray bottle by my sink, and she came up, and I said, if I don't like the person, I take it out and spray it. But I happened to recognize her. I was lucky. And she came in with her son, and she represented it very nice, and we spent the whole evening together. But that's the way it is. But if it's evening, I don't want him, because I don't know who they are.
Sure.
But I have to be very careful, so I don't, up to date, whenever I meet people, well, don't say where I live, because I saw what happened when the people, I got so much mail. Like I said, the furthest mail was from Japan.
And now that you move, you're going to be moving
to a place that they're waiting for me.
They're waiting for you.
Yeah.
So you have a community already waiting for you.
Yeah, but we have to change the mountains. Instead to go mountaineer, we got in Olympia. There's beautiful mountains. Well, I've already been hiking. In Olympia is a place where it's called the Sea Life. It's a 5-mile hike. And the hike is made, and you can hike with the trail. You can also hike with the wooden trail. And you're on the wooden trail for 5.5 miles. And it's beautiful. The scenery and everything is just breathtaking. And I've been on that already. And I've been on other hikes because when I lived in Tacoma, my husband and me, we used to go 1 week to the Olympics and 1 week over here. So we knew both places very well, but not as well as I do them now. And then my son was allergic to all, I didn't want to have dogs in the house, and he was allergic. So he used to have a turtle. And wherever he went, that turtle was his god. He had an umbrella, and that turtle was very soft. We went up to the Olympics. So I asked the lady at the building if I could leave the turtle there, and she said, oh, sure. So we had a beautiful time, okay, Alan and me. We came back. The lady said, the turtle, we flushed down the turtle. And, she's never been a mother. But can you see my son? He didn't cry, he screamed. And I didn't know what to do. And I said, she should never, even if they flushed down, they should have never said so. But that's what and he screamed and cried and said, Alan, I'm going to get you the turtle. I think she wouldn't be dead. And if she's dead, we said, I don't want another one. I want that turtle. So I went to the place where the people worked there for the summertime, and I asked them if they've ever seen a dish with a turtle. And one guy, yeah, it's my room. Would you believe it? Would you believe it?
No, I wouldn't believe it.
I wouldn't believe it either, but there was the truth that woman should have never, she should have lost her job if I would have been the correct way, because you don't do that with kids. But anyway, my son got back the turtle. And then we used to go there, and the rangers didn't like to ski there because the snow was too soft. So they come up here to ski with us. And one of the wives had she's never seen a mountaineer, and at the meeting, because she told me she's going to come up with him. So we went up to Camp Miro. And she, it was cute. We were hiking. She was on 7th Heaven. And then she said, Bronka, I have to tell you the truth. Today's my birthday. And I said, what? You should have told me with a cake or with something. Oh, I got something. She had a can of sardines. We opened the can of sardines. We celebrate happy birthday to you. And everybody was happy. They retired now. They moved to New Mexico a long ways. So I have always been with people, because the more you're with people, the happier you are. Yeah. It's just something. You kids are still small, but when they grow up and once they graduate from high school, the first year in college, they got their own friends, everything their own. You become like an outsider, no matter how much you would like to be an insider. So that's the time to get your friends.
So you chose to have one son.
I didn't want any kids. I saw Trump, but okay, for 8 years he got me just the way. I said, well, I don't want to adopt the child. He was going to adopt the child. I didn't want to adopt, because you never know, you adopt the child, you take a big risk. So I had my own, and I was a very happy mother. And the pediatrician became my friends. One time, I have to tell you, he was a baby. Those days, people had the doctor come to your house sometimes. So the doctor came to my house. Okay, the baby was sick, and he had a meeting. And I said, doctor, be careful, because he might pee at you. Bronka, you're always scared of things. And what do you think he did? He peed all over his suit. So in the meeting, so I got in my husband's. They were about the same size. I said, if you wanted to, you can have Oki's suit. So he took Oki's suit. He had to go to the meeting. And that's something that people don't do with one another.
Sure.
But they were about the same size. So I just asked him. So then he invited me to his house when my son had the tonsils out. And I didn't know what to do. So I went to their house. So you became friends without knowing. Life, if you are not against people, you became... And I'm proud. I'm always go back when I had no value for people. I had no value for anybody or for myself. So I sort of appreciate the value that people respect you for things. You know what I mean?
Well, could you explain what you mean about not having value for yourself and others from your past?
Somebody can ruin your value of your personality forever, because if they keep you like they kept me in Germany, I had no value. I know I'm going to die. I know things to say because I'm mental sick. That's why I'm there. That's why they told people. And you became yourself, that you quit believing in yourself, and you don't trust yourself. And it's a different mentality that you get into.
Could you explain that? Because I also remember that feeling of, you're in a place, but the place is saying that you're not sane, or you're not this or that. So can you describe what does that mean when your own mind is betraying itself?
You betrayed yourself. You don't believe in yourself, and it's the worst thing you can do to yourself. And that's my biggest ego. When I talk to kids, I cannot do. I'm talking to kids a lot around the time when they talk about the concentration camp. Yeah, and I always say that, a little example, I have a very dear friend who works for the park. Jim is his name. And I introduced him to his wife, and I was just like him. His father isn't alive anymore, but he was a lawyer for the White House. All his family are doctors and so on and so forth. Yet his daughter, who's beautiful, when she was little, she didn't know how to multiply. So I made a list, it goes to 10 and up to, and so so I said, Jim, don't tell her from whom that list comes, just give it to her. In the minute she got the list, that isn't your handwriting, that must be Bronka's. But she loved it, you know what I mean? And that's the way I am to people, if I can help them. And that's the way I get, I can understand people better. I think if I wouldn't have been in the concentration camp, maybe I wouldn't have that charm for people to help them out, my business to help them out. If I hike with people, they say, well, you're so patient. How can I be impatient, I'm happy that I can make them go higher. And it's a different personality because you were so low down that you have no value for yourself. What value have I got when I was in the concentration camp? I have no value. I would have given my life to anybody because my life was no life. And when people were told, there was a Polish people, which I'm very hard to understand, that it was before the Christmas time. She was a maid somewhere for the Germans, and she came over and got me a package of prunes. She threw it underneath the rock, otherwise she would be killed, and so I can pick it up. He said, so she was Polish, Christian, and yet she tried to help this little Jewish. I don't know if she knew I was Jewish or not, that I don't know. But so you find people in any race, in any nationality, you find them who feel that I'm not the only one a right to live. You want to help out people.
So that story about the girl who gave you the bag of
prunes. Yeah.
Where were you at the time, and what was that?
I was working on this with the houses were bombed.
That's when you were doing the construction work on the bombed houses in Bremen.
Yeah, in Bremen, you were right. And I didn't do construction. The bombed houses, we had to take him down. That was our work, everybody's work. And she saw me, and maybe she didn't meant for me, maybe she meant for the next one. But I shared it with her anyway. But the fact that she heard us talking Polish, and she thought, well, she's Polish. Maybe she would be anti-Jew, I don't know. But she didn't show it at that time. She thought I was a Polish person in prison or something. So it goes to show you that anybody can find somebody who want to help somebody. And that's the part of living.
So how did you get to Bremen? After liberation?
No. I got to Bremen in the beginning. But first they took us to Auschwitz. In Auschwitz we were for about, I would say, a week without no clothes at all. And then when Bremen was bombed, they throw in, if you were tall, you got a dress, got you to your navel. And if you were short, you got a dress like an evening dress. Just throw in clothes because they have to get us as fast as they can to Bremen, because Bremen is a port city where the boats come in, and it got bombed. And there's somebody to clean it up. It was us to clean it up. In Mankos were people who were 45, 35, but they look like 85 because they lost their husbands, they lost their kids, and all they did is cry. All night long I was crying. But during the day they had to go out and work. You can't even imagine what it means like. Can you imagine when you lose your family but you have to work? No food, no clothes, but you have to work.
And so there was devastation, and then on top of it there was...
No, and you come home, you have no place, you come home, you go back to the barrack, and you go on the thing to lay down. If the bombing was going on, you told me there's nothing to eat. So we went many times to bed, not to bed, to the bed you were on the wooden things where you're supposed to lay, without no dinner or anything.
So when you're in Auschwitz for a week without clothes, it's cold. Could you describe what you remember of that time?
You can't remember anything. You just feel sorry for one another. I was smart enough, because I was little, I was smart enough. I would never go into that place that was like a garage or like a shed, but the black tap was dripping from you. And when it dripped from you, it burned because it was hot. And I never went in there, but the people came out, they were just look horrible. Why did you go in there? Well, it was cold to be outside. It was without clothes to be outside. And there was no pity on us. Otherwise, we got there to go to end our lives, but Bremen got bombed and we have to go work for it.
So they and all this while you're in Auschwitz, were there calling people out, and what was life like? You go from
It's
sleeping in the
horrible.
barracks to go working to.
You come back to barracks. It was awful, but the worst was when we were going from Bremen, when we were going to Bergen-Belsen. That was the Bergen-Belsen. If it would have lasted longer, well, I wasn't alive, you might say, because I wasn't conscious. I never know how I got to be in a clean bed. So in the morning I would have been dead probably.
So, and you weren't able. So really, when you look back at that moment in time, you don't have memories from.
No, I don't know. Because when I woke up, I thought for sure that I'm in heaven, because what else would I be?
So you don't even know how long you were in Bergen-Belsen.
No, I don't know exactly how long I was in Bergen-Belsen. I don't know anything about it, because my memory was just, you have nothing to eat for so long, and you're sick, and every day you help take out the dead people, because every day there were, I would say, 200-300 dead people. So its smell will just get you. It's even Wally says, how can you have kept your ears normal? Because I have very good hearing for my age, and we didn't have any hair. They shaved us. And in the winter, we didn't have anything on our heads. And arthritis I do have, and I work on it to get better. But it was normal to get it because we were cold. We were ice cold in the wintertime. So it's, like I say, nobody can ever believe it. And how can people go back to Germany? That's what I can't understand. I don't care who you are, but if you're Jewish, how can you go back to Germany? Even if I get gold, I wouldn't want it.
Do you think some people need to go to Germany because they want to
see what happened?
That maybe that was not normal?
Well, that's what they say. They say that isn't true. A lot of people, special religious, I don't know what kind of religion they have, they say that the Jews made it up.
Well, outside of the deniers, I can imagine that somebody might want to see that the world that they were once in is restored to normalcy.
Is it restored? I would never want to go to see. Is it restored, what you saw?
No, I mean, I went to also Austria and went to genocide conferences, and strikingly what I find is a very, it's still an anti-Semitic place. Even if Berlin has accomplished a great deal politically, that's Berlin. Outside of Berlin, look, the rabbis in Germany have just said that you shouldn't walk outside in public with a kippah on.
No.
So is that back to normal? No, I don't think so.
No, but the German Jewish people, I'm just repeating what my father used to say, that they don't say when they go in Shema Yisrael, they'll say, Good morning, Herr Gott. Good morning, God. They talk just like the Christians did, or the temples, or whatever they had. They were not as religious. They were not. I don't know what to say. They were different. They were more. In fact, when there were a lot of Jews came into the ghetto, and the German Jews who came into the ghetto, this Jude, that Jude, what Jude, they've forgotten they got names. So they were brainwashed in a funny way that they called us people, this is the Jude, because we were all Judes in the ghetto. But the mentality, that's a Jude, that's the Jude from there. So their mentality was half German until they got to go to the ghetto. I don't understand it. And then the Polish Jews didn't like them because Good morning had got. And that isn't the Polish Jew, he was religious, he had the tallis, the tallis he had it first. So it wasn't the way it should be either. So in other words, when you live in a country, you dance with the country, and that's what they did, that's what we did. But we were more, the Russian Jew and the Polish Jew were the most Jew at the time. There were many beautiful writers from the Russian Jew. But you probably saw movies about how horrible they were to the... Have you ever watched the movie Fiddler on the Roof? And that's a true story. It's made for a movie to make people laugh and go down. But that's a true story. That's the way people lived to a certain time, and then they got rid of you. You had no voice.
But your hometown, before you went to Lodz, was not a shtetl, or what was? It felt like...
It was a smaller city, and it was right underwater. And you know, my neighbor's boy, I don't swim. I never swam because my neighbor's Yiddish boy, 18 years old, went swimming and he didn't come back alive. He drowned. So it was a horrible funeral because there was horse and buggy to take him out. And my parents would never let us look at water, leave alone to go into the water. So I never learned how to swim. But now I'm going to start to learn how to swim because Wally was a swim instructor. So he says, Bronka, there's no problem. He's going to get the board and got 3 different swimming places where I'm going to live. So he's going to teach me how to swim. I doubt if I learn because I don't know. Maybe I will,
You'll
know.
learn, yeah.
But he's going to do it.
So when you left your hometown to Lodz, then you went from Lodz to Auschwitz, and then from Auschwitz to Bremen, and Bremen to Bergen-Belsen. And then Bergen-Belsen you were liberated, but you didn't know where or how.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know
No memories, just waking up in a beautiful...
I was unconscious. If it would have lasted longer, I wouldn't be here. But it just happened. Everything is meant to be. No matter how you work on something, if it isn't meant to be, it's going to get spoiled in the last minute. But it was meant to be that I didn't believe it for hours that's true that I'm still on the same planet. Because how could I, from laying with all the dead people, all of a sudden I'm in a clean white sheets, bed. What else would you think of it?
And you were literally laying with the dead bodies?
Sleeping with them, eating with them, not eating, but being there, and being day after day after day after day.
Moving them?
When they were dead, try to get them out. And there were new key people dying. And I would have been the next one to die if the English wouldn't have come in that evening. Because I wasn't conscious. I was unconscious.
How old were you at that time?
I should know, but I don't know how old I was. I know that in Sweden they celebrate my birthday. But I didn't know much what was going on in between. I was dead. I was completely out of thing.
And when you started coming back to life, could you describe what that was like to...
Well, I was happy that the war was over, and you know what they did across from us. When at first, I don't even know what hospital I was, but the doctors used to tell me, look up, see the fire, that's what you used to be, it's burning now. All the way to concentration, Bergen-Belsen was burned. Down to, I've never seen it burned, except I saw the fire, because they told me, don't be afraid, that's fire, it's going to get all burnt. And I could care less, because I wasn't well enough even to know. But when I came to Sweden, I started to live.
Where was that hospital where you were convalescing?
You mean in Germany? I wouldn't know.
Right.
I wouldn't know until they put me on the ship. It's a Red Cross boat. And I wind up in Sweden.
So the moment you got on the ship is the moment you started kind of waking up?
No, I was conscious, but I didn't know where I was. I wasn't normal. I know how to explain it. I must have been normal because I saw the guys going and coming, but I didn't know who and what. I didn't know.
Just confusion in the mind.
Yeah. And if then when I saw them come, when the boat got through it was called Kalmar, the city, when the boat got through, and I saw the people who took me down from the boat were very tall people, dressed in uniforms, the gloves up to here, masks, glasses, hats. I didn't know again where I was until I was into that hospital. You know what they did in the hospital? They screwed us up on the wall to scrub us. Physically, we were in a holder.
Yeah.
And they put a belt here and a belt here, and they could put us up like on a wall, and then they scrubbed us. We didn't get any food for 24 hours because they're afraid to feed us. They didn't know what was wrong with us. Until, after so long, we start to get very little to drink. But me, I got 6 meals a day, and I vomit 6 meals a day. So it was no, and I never gotten, when I was pregnant with my son, you know how much I gained? Take a guess. You got 2 kids, you should guess.
20 pounds?
10 pounds. And the doctor became my friend. He isn't alive anymore, but the people who were overweight had to come to going to lose weight every so often. I have to come to gain weight every so often.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't gain any weight, I was vomiting. I wasn't precis vomiting, but I can never gain weight. I can eat my meal, I don't feel right. I'm going to go to a doctor at the end of this month again because last winter they got me a prescription that was supposed to help me a lot to digest my food, but it helped me for about a month. I felt better. I could eat whatever I want to eat, and I'm back where I am now. I can't get up to be 90 pounds.
I wonder if it's stress from the house and the move. And
That's
all.
what the doctor said. He told me, I'm going to go to the doctor again, but he told me that my problem now might be, I would have gotten to be better, but the house did it to me. She says, Bronka, when you get settled, you're going to feel better, but I'm going to go to get me some medication because it's very hard to live that way.
I think you will. I think once you're settled and this is behind you, the move and being in a new place, there's some adjustment period, but you'll feel better.
Well, the guy who's the head guy of that place is a friend of Wally's.
It's great.
And it's very great because each time when I come in, either Wally gets to go dinner free or I get to go dinner free. Yeah. I never take it, but Wally does. But then everybody's nice, because I judge people different too. Think of that. Life has never been the same for me as it should be, but I live with it. I got used to it because I don't trust people like I used to, because you can't trust people. And so the one who I trust very much is the one, his name is Bill, and he told me that his father, or his grandfather, was Jewish German, but he's not. So what are you, Bill? Well, I'm a Christian, but his grandfather was a Jew. See, and that's the way, but so he's very sympathetic with me. He'd do anything for me. He helped me a lot to my, maybe I helped him too, he says, but he's different. He bought me my generator, got outside, because when there was no light, and he wanted to have light, and it was nice that he did that. And I think it's because his grandfather was Jewish. That's the only I can think of.
Yeah. So do you still feel, I mean, maybe not in this community, but do you still feel in interactions you've had when people are anti-Semitic? Or have you experienced that in later years or only in the news? Or?
I'm going to tell you something. When I came to the United States, I'm a seamstress now, although I cannot see. When I go home from work, I used to go home with the girls. There was a German girl who told me, Bronka, you probably wouldn't like me, but I'm going to tell you, I like Hitler. I said, what? He says, she says, we were so poor, but when Hitler came to be Hitler, we got a beautiful home, we got furniture. And I said, did you ever think of it that belonged to some people? I don't care, but I feel I deserve something good in my life too. So that's the way they're thinking. You see? So you cannot see this is good or that's good or what is good. When you get to talk to them, you find out who they are. People don't care.
Right.
Just that they have it good. Say, I feel differently. I've given away half of my things from my house to different friends because they should have something, and I don't care if it's, as long as they're not anti-Semitic. I have a friend, you saw it in the paper, Rose is her name. She's from Mexico. Her grandparents are born in Mexico, but she loves the Jewish religion. So she got me a Bible in English. But the Bible is beautiful, but the Bible talks mainly about Jesus, what he did. Well, I'm not interested in it, but I wouldn't tell her. I told her, thank you, it's very interesting. It's a lot to read. But she's going to get a plate of those plates that I got from Israel to have it as a memory for me when I move, because she drives me a lot.
Yeah.
So I go that way, but you never get away from it. If you have a very hard life, you never leave it from your mind. You might be polite to people because that's where we should be, but it's something within you. Why would I suffer so much? For what reason? What have I done? What are you better than I am? The Germans weren't any better than, but they were the They were the most learned people in Europe. They still are very smart in their ways. But now they got all the money. Look all the money they got from the banks and from everything else.
So you don't leave behind the past experiences, you live with them.
In memory.
In
Of
memory.
course, that's the only way.
And when you're living with them,
They eat milk. They
They
eat
eat you.
milk just like you would take a knife. They eat milk. If somebody comes up and tells me a big story, it's something to do with anti-people, I'm very hurt because I don't, it should be different.
it's
But you not
devastating.
change it.
It's devastating that you had to live it and still see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, could you talk a little bit about what it's like to live with those memories of losing your family? Maybe talk a little bit about losing
It
your
hurts. It hurts very much, honey. It hurts even worse when you go into a place. Grandma, where are you? Daughter, where are you? Or so. But the grandchildren or whatever, it hurts you to you both because my sister's child was 2 years old when she used to go. They went with her to a place where my grandma was born, a little, and she didn't live. My sister who took her down there didn't live. It wasn't the mother. It was my younger sister from her. So that also, when I see a big family get together, I'm happy for them. But I got tears in my eyes. They don't know it, what I do, because I don't have it. I never had it. And that hurts, because I have nothing to do with it. I cannot help it. I know these people cannot help it, but it bothers you.
So of your 9 siblings, none of them made it?
Yes, 2 made it, but they're not alive anymore.
Right.
And one who made it, she was in Russia, in Russia, and she was sold from here to down here. Why I never want to ask. And she died, and now her son's wife, who's born in Israel, we correspond sometimes. In fact, she didn't hear from me because I haven't written to anybody till I'm settled. And she wanted to know if I'm alive or not. But you miss the whole family. We were aunts and uncles and cousins, and you're alone. You know?
Yeah.
And it's very hard to explain it. And I know the people want to share it with me. I don't go to weddings.
It's too painful?
Very, very painful, very painful. In the many occasions I don't go on account that I don't want to irritate the people or be crying with the people, so I just don't go. And they understand me. The majority of my friends know that they understand me.
I have some good friends in Rwanda who were married. In fact, somebody that a dear friend of mine who has worked for the archive for the last 10 years, and I was able to sponsor his wedding in Rwanda. I was going to go, and then he needed some more money, so I took my plane ticket back, and I sent him that. And I knew that if I went, it wasn't a happy occasion for him regardless.
Why?
His whole family was killed in the genocide. His wife's whole family was killed.
Mm.
And you know what? When they get married, what they do is they think about
The
only
name.
the people who are not there.
Yeah, of course.
So it's painful to start with.
Excuse me, I'm just going to
Yeah.
At home. But did you tell what our problems is? What did he say? Oh, okay, honey. I'll call you when I get down. I'll call you in the evening. Yeah, okay. Bye. It was Wally who called.
That's nice. He's checking.
There's
Maybe
a-
you just turn this side again. That way it's better for the light. Oh,
You say, and people know that that shouldn't call today. They know that. Hello? Yeah? Yeah, I know it's David. I can hear it in your voice. How you doing? You know, you are mistaken. This isn't a lady. This is a man. Yeah, and I opened the door and I thought, oh my God, I expected a lady. And he says, well, maybe my voice sounds like a lady, but he doesn't. It just, you told me it was a lady, and I just kept saying it's a lady. You will not talk to him? Yeah. We had lunch together. He took us out for lunch. Yeah. I don't know. We're just visiting. He's not done with it yet. He's probably has to come back again because we do mainly talking about things that about the war, you know. And he instead to do it, he's listening. Oh, how did you make out? How did you make out, Morton? Did you go get? Uh-huh. So why don't you call me, honey? Why don't you call me in the evening? Because he probably wants to go home too. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for calling. Bye bye. Bye. That was Daniel.
That's nice.
He thought about you. He never met you in person.
No, I never met him in person.
No.
Yeah.
But I think you did very beautiful, and I told you that before, that you told him he doesn't have to be here. Because you see about Wally, did he try to be outside?
Yeah.
He found work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there are things that I can't know if you want to
No.
speak about. I mean, what this is ultimately, at the end of the day, is a record of life and lived experiences and memories that you're leaving behind for people to try to begin to understand.
I hope they understand it. The majority don't. The majority, why couldn't you be happy? You're happy now. Why don't you keep on being happy? But you cannot. I cried more at my son's wedding, you know, from my eyes, because I have a whole family, but nobody was there except Bronka and Oki. I couldn't get guests up because the wedding was in New Jersey. But anyway, people cannot understand people, no matter how they try to understand you, unless you're in the same shoes.
But I think
I should say, the other phone, you would hear about whom I'm talking. Hello? Hi, honey, how you doing? Oh, that's good for you. Listen, I'm still here, so I'm not done because the gentleman who came over is still here too. Okay, hon. Love you. Bye-bye. That's my friend Rose, we do things together a lot. She wanted to know how I am. She calls me every single, either in the morning or in the evening. But you know, I had a garden, always had a garden. This is the first year I don't have a garden, and I can't tell I'm selling the house.
Yeah.
But anyway, I went by a stick, because I'm also in a hurry, and the stick got in my leg, and it took off not the skin, but the whole meat with it.
Oh.
And I bled so hard, and I came in and I didn't know what to do, and I called up her and called up the one from the park, and neither of them were home. So I left a message. So they came the next morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, to get me to the hospital. And I was, you know, I could push the button and I would get on the phone, but I was too upset to do it. I didn't know how to get my blood. I had to scream. Every the floor was, except this floor, was with blood. I never went into the living room. So anyway, that opened my mind too, that I should be in a place I wouldn't have to worry everything like that.
What you said is striking. A couple things. One, when you said that you cried at your son's wedding. In a way, even the most joyous of occasions for your own child you couldn't experience because of what you didn't get to have.
Not only that, but you know, we were a big family, uncles and aunts, Jewish people, big families. And here was the only one, but if you would have time, maybe in the future, if you come here, I'll show you the wedding, because I got albums of the wedding. Everybody thought that, gee, is that your mother? They thought I was sister, you know. I was dressed up nice. I made my own dress and everything. But you look around and there were people. It was completely done different that I would have done with the wedding. They rented the room for so many hours. I wasn't used to it. And everything was, even though the bride's parents, they couldn't be any nicer to me. They couldn't be any more lovey to me. But there's just something missing that I didn't have, that I couldn't share it with anybody. They would never understand it. So it was hard for me. It was very hard for me.
And culturally, it was entirely different.
Well, they you know, they judge things different. I'm going to tell you something. Her father was Yiddish, but not her mother. But I became the very good friend with her mother, the very good friend. In fact, we were supposed to go to my granddaughter's wedding, but she passed away just within a week. She had cancer. But it just isn't. It just isn't the same. That's the time when you think of your family. You don't have a family. And that's sad because, after all, you're also born like these people who celebrate and love one another. You feel that it's the wrong time in life that you were born, because if they would be born after the war, or they would be born whatever, you feel very much alone, put it that way, no matter how many. And I wonder if I didn't keep close to my husband's family in order to feel that I got somebody.
Right.
Even though they were so different from me, but that's the way I felt. And I would rather not go to a wedding. I would rather not go to big doings, because I've never gotten over the war, and I'm 94 years old. I'm going to be 94, but I've never gotten over the war, because I can still see my father going to the gas chamber. It's always in my mind, no matter what.
It's like, in addition to not getting the normal things of life, you also got these horrible images in your mind.
Very hard, very, very hard. It's hard even to explain it. And I try to talk to people as little about it as I can, because it's hard, but it doesn't go away no matter what, and no matter how happy. The only one who really understood me from inside out was my husband. My husband was a very intelligent person, and when he go to the movies, all the movies were showing what was going on during the war. And people in the movie house will say, no, it couldn't have been that way. It wasn't that way. And he'll say, it was even worse. I have a wife who was there, and that's why he will answer. But very few people would ever believe it, and that we made it up. It even hurt more yet, and I'm still alive. Imagine how it's going to be 10 years after I'm dead, because I'm not the youngest generation who's still alive. Nice. They say twice so big. It never existed. In the Jews, you're going to still be the Jew making up stories.
How were you able to raise your son, knowing that, as you were raising him, you didn't have the same kind of childhood? How did you compensate for
I'm going to tell you that you will never believe it. There was a boy, there was the only colored boy in class where my son went to school. Nathan was his name. My son got A's for spelling, that's spelling, every week. And Nathan never got anything. So he used to complain to me. He said, Mrs. Sundstrom, I never get an ice cream cone or whatever they got, because the spelling wasn't. And I said, Nathan, why don't you get it? I never spell it right. So I called up the teacher. He was in the second grade. And the teacher happened to be from Minnesota, so she had a Swedish accent, so I wasn't at home. And I told her, I got this boy, Nathan. Yeah, Nathan's class. And he never gets an award like my son gets. Why don't you give me the spelling, and I'm going to work with it. So she got me the words they're going to have to spell next time. And Nathan used to get my outgrown clothes for my son, because he was smaller than my son. And he also got clothes mainly from Sweden, handmade, just beautiful clothes. And then I sold him clothes. So anyway, we had lessons every day. And what do you think happened? Nathan got an award too, I know, whatever. Mrs. Sundstrom, look what I got. And it was the happiest thing that could ever happen to him. And I was happy. He told me he used to play with mice in his bathtub. That was his toys. His father and mother worked. But wait, then my son was in high school with his brother. And the preachers in the church taught them that if they're in school and the white kids goes by them, they shouldn't go out of their way. They should stay there. Let the kids go out of the way. So in high school, my son was working for the newspaper when he was in high school. He was very good at it. He got awards from different pictures. Anyway, so this boy, Nathan's brother, told Alan, Alan, I don't want to say nothing, but would you please go by without wanting to push me down, because I'm supposed to push you away from me and stay where I am, but not want to do that. Because Nathan told him what I'm doing for him, probably, I don't know. So you see that how life is, all it took is a teacher to tell these things. not Nathan, or not the brother, or not my son. But the school should have straightened it out. But they didn't do it. They probably do it now. So, the whole world, they blame it on this and that and what. But if you get from the very beginning, it's wrong from the very beginning. And people don't see it.
And you can't stand to see injustice in the world.
You cannot do nothing about it. You have to stand it, because otherwise you get killed. If you go against it, they'll kill you. They'll put you to prison. Why do you think so many people in the government, they get lost? They don't get lost. They get killed. So you have to bury it. You can do the best you can do, lest it gets organized a group and fight it.
So what makes life worth living if we have a society that's in shambles, injustice left and right, genocides happening, and you're carrying these horrific memories? What keeps you moving? Why keep climbing this mountain?
That's what does it. That's what makes you climb the mountains. You're up in the mountains with people who are loving. Everybody knows I'm Jewish. Because the first thing when we start to talk, I said, well, in the Jewish faith, with this and that and what. And they respect it. If they wouldn't respect it, look at Wally. He liked the Arabs. He was crazy. But now he's changed.
So why is it important to you that they know that you're a Jew, that I'm a Jew, that we're doing... Why is that important?
We're not ashamed of our race, because we don't have to be ashamed of our race. Whose Bible do they read? Very few books are written in Arabic. 99 of books are written in Yiddish, in Hebrew. And how would they know the holidays? And who's Jesus? Did you ever learn when you were a kid who Jesus is? Yeah. Well, you know what the mums is? He's a kid without a father. You see, so but you would never say that, because you will push them down. So I don't do that.
My grandfather would say that mumser. I'm told not to say the word mumser.
Yeah, you see, but you see, I'm born Jewish and I was gonna die Jewish, and my son taught from a Swedish kid. He taught Hebrew. My husband didn't believe in anything. He believed in me. He believed in my faith. He went to the temple, and I was hurt when he couldn't carry the Torah. But that's the law, But yes, you have to do it. And more you do it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's good to see that you've got people.
I got a lot of people. Hello? Hello? Who's calling? Oh, I know, sir, but I have no time to talk to you, because I'm having company, but I know about it, and I appreciate that you make a remark about it. Thank you. He wants money for the police. But anyway, it goes to show you that one bird would make summer. But if you can brainwash 10 kids to look at life the way you should look at life, maybe someday summer will come. And I think we are treating much better now than we were treating, let's say, 50 years ago. Wouldn't you say so?
Absolutely. When 50 years ago you couldn't have blacks, dogs, or Jews at a resort in Florida or a hotel or something, and now for sure. But at the same time, there's permission to be anti-Semitic. There's permission to hate Israel as the nation of Jews.
Yeah,
the world can do that.
It's very easy
somehow
then.
There hasn't been much of a change. If people continue to think that.
But it's better, but it used to be. It's better, but it used to be. We were in Hawaii. Alaska. We were in Alaska. And they told us, Wally's grandson is in Alaska. He's in the Navy, but no, he's with the water. That would be the Navy. But anyway, we stayed in that hotel because it's so much cheaper to stay in that hotel than go to a regular hotel. So the lady in the hotel says, we only have room for 2 nights because it's going to be all set. So for 2 nights. So Wally says, well, we take the 2 nights because you can go in another hotel. So anyway, the next day was another girl, and I came down and said, is that Bronka? And I said, yes. And she said, I told her, we can only stay for 2 nights. No, you can stay the whole time you want to stay here. So he said, this one, I could only stay for 2 nights. This one says I can stay as long as I want. And we stayed there the whole 10 days. So you see how people are?
Yeah.
And they're the same people that work for that hotel. So it goes to show you that if you help one person to take away that thinking that I'm the boss, it helps a lot. Life is very complicated. And why it would be so complicated? Because of our characters, of our religion, of our doing things. Yet we live with it. And I think that with having our own country, and if we can support it, eventually people will open their eyes. And the smartest thing would be if it could be a guy who could open the Arabs' eyes. Then we would have it made, but we don't know that. And I have listened to many conversations between the Arabs in a newsman or a photographer, and there are a lot of Arabs who want to have peace with the Jews. But where are they? What are they doing? That's another story. They're probably afraid of their lives. Because they go in their own country, the girls will use the burqas that they're supposed to have. And the minute they go on the plane, they change their clothes. So they're afraid for their families even. You see? So I don't know. It's going to be better because it's getting better. The child who's born today, whatever color, whatever race, is much better off now but he was 30 years ago. But it goes very slow.
Yeah. Did you, I guess when you look back, did you think we'd be in a very different place? You've lived through the civil rights era, you've lived through, I don't know when you first moved to the United States after England. When was that?
I moved to the United States in 1948.
Oh, 1948.
Yes.
Directly after you were in England.
Yeah.
And you settled
in Tacoma.
In Tacoma
Because my husband's aunt lived in Tacoma, and she wrote to us, or she called us to England instead to go back to Sweden. If it's going to be again moving, that if you want to, you can come to the United States. You're going to make the papers out, and that's what she did.
So in 1948, here was two momentous things happened. Bronka came to Tacoma, and Israel was made a state.
Yeah, and I went to Israel, and I saw the people dancing on the street, and boy, it felt so good. It felt so good. I thought I cried more than anybody with the United Nations because people didn't understand the United Nations. But I know the United Nations are going to bring the world together because it was supposed to be like a court. You go to the court to get you have a lawyer and get your things. And that's the way the United Nations, because united, nations. But the Arabs had the oil, and that's what got all out of its whack. And do you know that people liked President Roosevelt? But you know what President Roosevelt did? When my son went to Sunday school, his teacher, I think she was from Austria. I don't know where she was from. She was Yiddish because she taught Hebrew. She was on a boat with other Jewish people who could afford to have a boat. They were on the sea for 3 months, and America wouldn't let them go in. You know who let them go in? Canada.
Yeah. And of course, when we think about FDR, we can think about here in Seattle, the internments.
Yeah.
The Japanese internments.
Yeah.
We can think about the fact that here was a president who chose to stay out of the war instead of going in and solving the camps. You know?
You mean Truman?
No, FDR didn't bomb any of the camps.
No.
He could have.
Yeah, it's but I believe it's going to get better because it is better now than it was when I came here.
So, at this moment in time, when you think about this new chapter that you're about to start with, a new community, you still have your old community, all these people who are calling are going to be visiting, you're still going to be hiking.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'll be. You never know, when you are age, I can get a stroke today, I can get a heart attack tomorrow.
So how does that feel, that like you're at a place where your tomorrow is uncertain for you?
Yeah.
But you feel
It's a change of. And I wouldn't have to, like now, this girl called me because if I need any help, she calls me every day, mostly in the morning. I wouldn't need her to call me because I would feel if I push the button, I get help. The nurse already interviewed me, but I'm going to down because the guy that Wally is friends with told them about me that I made the summit, and she was very anxious to meet me. So she already had a very beautiful visit with me, very beautiful visit with me. So I'm already in there, you know what I mean? They want to have milk. And then there was a Japanese, it's very interesting. It was a Japanese girl, a lady, I shouldn't say girl. I don't know, she must have been in her 70s. And she came over. She says, "You're Bronka. I heard that you might come over to live here." I said, "Yeah, I'm thinking of it. Not yet, but it's going to take some time." She says, "I'm Japanese, either Japanese or Korean, I can't remember." And she says, I'm a very good golfer, just a known golfer. But I golfed and I fell. And they took me to the hospital and they operated on me. And do you know, she says, my leg is about this much shorter than the other leg. So I had to quit golfing. I cannot wait for you to come over here because I think we can be friends. So that's the way people take me. And I hope we can be friends because, so that's the way. You have to go with the flow because otherwise you can't go back because then what's life?
Yeah. In addition to being, when you were 76 and summited, you were a 76-year-old...
77.
I'm sorry, I keep losing this year for you, but I won't do that. 77-year-old woman, Jew, Holocaust survivor. What does that say to the world when you had the strength of mind and body and spirit to climb this mountain?
That's why I got the furthest letter that I got was from Japan. And she couldn't get over it. I got the letter still, I think. It's probably packed and it's probably lazy. But yeah, I was excited that I got a lot of mail from Colorado. And then, that's something I've never told you yet, different companies called me up about food. There was in Chicago, they called me up about sausage. And I was very polite. And I said, what kind of stuff would I advertise? Well, we just make the best sausages. Well, I don't eat sausage, but if I don't eat it, I cannot advertise it. They put the receiver down. They didn't say, well, thank you anyway. They just put the receiver down. And there were so many people who called me to advertise. And this was also, the people made it up because they knew about it. This also, I never said a word about it, but they made it just for the fun of it. Because if I don't like something, if I don't like it, why would I push it on people?
Sure. And who knows, maybe it was pork sausage.
It could be anything.
Could have been
but,
trafe.
Yeah,
I'm not going to advertise trafe.
Yeah, but the biggest thing that my husband had fun with is a company who, what's it called, that sport that they have? I've forgotten the sport. They use something to go down like this from the mountains.
Rappelling?
No, not skis. It was something else.
On a rope or?
I can't remember what it was. I can't remember, but anyway, it'll probably come back to me because as usual, it comes back to me. Oh,
snowboarding?
Snowboarding, thank you. We can give you the best snowboard in the United States. Could I register for? So my husband was sitting, whatever. Bronka, please say no. Please say no, Bronka. I said, well, my husband's behind me, and he says, for my age, I shouldn't do it. I'm so sorry. And I put the receiver down.
Yeah.
But I could go into any profession. But you see, then I had a friend who, his friend, he was close to my age, or maybe 10 years younger. He bought me one of those doilies from the mountain every state, and I still got it. And if you ever want it for your kids, I give it to you. But anyway, he told me that he's very unhappy where he is, that his son wants him to come down to California, but he can't make up his mind because there's another kid who's 18 years old, and he's going to teach him snowboarding. And I said to him, if I do you, I wouldn't take snowboarding because the bones are weak, and if you get to fall, it'll take you 3 times so long to get back to your health and so on. But something happened that he had to go. He took snowboarding, one lesson, and he's down in California with his son. He couldn't, I hope he's better because he hasn't written to me, so I don't know. He fell.
Oh.
So he said, so you have to be, when you get to be a certain age, things attracts you, but you cannot join them unless you know your body.
Yeah.
So it isn't easy to want to be everything, but you cannot be. I realize now, I don't hike now like I used to with all my energy. I don't, because I feel if something happened,
So you hiked for 20 years, but you never summited. And so 20 years later, after knowing this mountain? What was it like for you to go finally to the top?
Well, I didn't want to ever think I'd go up to the summit because I'm very happy at Camp Miro, because Camp Miro is a space that you can go in your shoes, you can go in the clothes that you wear, you can enjoy your talking to people. And the ones who come down from Camp Miro, they're more dead than alive, no matter how good they are. I was not, but no matter how good they are. So I never wanted to go. But this ranger, this guy, Jason, had watched me for all these years, and whenever he's got a click with people, but he got them up, he'd talk about me to give them that they can make it too. And then when I leave, take a guess how old she is. Or take a guess how old her husband is. And that's the way they did it. So, but I didn't care one way or the other. But then my biggest, he asked me if I want to join him in school because they have classes, how to do things. And I said, no, Jason, I don't think I'm going to take classes because I'm happy with Camp Miro. And I wouldn't spend that money. I would never use it again. And maybe 2 weeks later, I got a package about this big, and I thought it was for my son. And I said, okay, I got the package from Alan. And I opened it, and there was everything what you need from ice axe to crampons. Everything was it. So what did you say now? I had no excuse. But the only thing I did, what he didn't want me to do, he says, the last 2 days before we go, I don't want you to be active, just rest. In the last day, I went up with somebody to Camp Hill, and he happened to come here to have something for my husband, a shirt, I can't remember what, a jacket. And I told him, where have you been, Bronka? I just came back from Camp Hill. What? We're not going to go. No, that's fine. So we went anyway.
So was there a point in time when you didn't want to do the summit, where you just thought, after you got this box,
I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no. He did everything. He wouldn't give me a lesson. Lessons cost I don't know what it costs today, but in those days it was $180 for a lesson. That's all that money. And I had no use for it. I was happy with Camp Miro. I've been to Adams many a times. I've been to St. Helens many a times. I've been one time to Mount Adams with one of the rangers. Excuse me. And it was blowing so, there's a building stays up there. The building used to be when people used to accumulate iron or something for export. So that's a shack. And why the shack stands is because the snow keeps it. If the snow would melt out, it will fall apart. So we went up there with some rangers, and they wouldn't let me stand up. I have to stand all four like this into my down, because they're afraid I'm going to fly to that building and I'll be killed. But I've been up there one day. I start at 7, I come back at 7. I never stayed overnight. There's a place, it's called The Counter, where people stay overnight in tents and blah, blah, blah. But I came up at 7, I come back. I went to St. Helens the same way. I never take nothing with me to stay overnight because I don't want to stay overnight.
So did you know that was going to be a record?
Which one?
This one, yeah.
Adams?
19 hours.
Adams?
The Rainier. Yeah.
No, I didn't know what to expect, but they knew. Jason again, other people. When I was on 20,000 or 13,000 elevation, there were people guides. They were waiting for the people who stayed overnight, and they knew me call, and they come over. Bronka, when you come back, I'll make you coffee. When you come back, I'll make you cocoa. And I said, I don't think I'll take any because I want to go back today. What? You're not going to go back to say, well, if I make it, we were on 12,000 already. It's only, if I make it, I'm going to go down. And that's what I did.
And Jason knew that if you went down, and was he pushing you to go faster?
No, he fucked all the way around. Slow down, let's relax. I think he wasn't able. He got diarrhea, so he had to go to the bathroom. That's a big chore to go to the bathroom when you're roped up and all that. But no, he was he couldn't believe it. When he came to the parking lot, when we came back, he was at the park, he already called the newsman. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know whom he was calling. I said, Jason, whom you call in the middle? It's late in the evening. Oh, I just called my wife. Then in the morning, there was Channel 5, Channel 7, here with the trucks waiting for you. You will never guess what I did. Let's see if you can guess.
Channel 5 and Channel... you stayed inside?
No, I woke up my husband and I said, okay, you want to go for a hike? Are you crazy, Bronco? And I said, I'm going for a hike because people are waiting for me outside. They're going to interview me. So we got dressed. He was very good. We got dressed and went out before the door. And the door was locked, so they couldn't interview me. Until so Jason, because Jason made all the arrangements because he couldn't get over it. So when Jason called me up, said, Bronco, what did you do the day after? And I said, I went for a hike. What? And I said, Jason, if somebody wants to interview me, they got a telephone, they know my name, they know where I live. They shouldn't call me here in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, when I go to the bathroom and see a car outside. He never said anything. He felt guilty.
Yeah.
But they interviewed me later and they called me up and it was normal. But I thought that's one time that I don't like is to interview without you knowing it.
Sure. But what's beautiful that happened is that people started coming to visit you, and
Yeah.
these are lasting friendships.
Yeah. Oh, I got so many friends, I got so many. There's a group of people who lost their breasts. And we meet, in fact, we're going to meet soon. And there's so many, in the Bronka Association. I got all my clothes. Then I'm going to tell you, there's a place, it's called OR. Have you ever bought clothes there? It's
Yes,
a sport
yes.
club.
Yeah, it's like surfing.
A sport, yeah. So the OR are very much with me. If you would see the clothes, when I went to Hawaii, they knew I was going to Hawaii. Wally took me to Hawaii because I've never been in your place. So they bought me a box about this big, with about 7 hats for Hawaii. One with the colors that the sun wouldn't get me, one advertising. And I got beautiful clothes. I still never buy no clothes for me. I get it free. I got a jacket, but you wouldn't buy it for $300, a down jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And they made, maybe you've seen it because people have seen it. I never looked at, but they show me in a very beautiful jacket by a tent, and they did it just about maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice company. So you're a sponsored athlete.
Yeah, very, very much. So if I show you my clothes, you wouldn't believe it.
So now that you're going to be shifting, will you want to come back to this mountain, or you're excited about exploring down?
No, we used to, my husband and me, I've told you, we used to live in Tacoma.
Yeah.
And from one window, we saw Mount Adams.
Yeah.
Not Mount Adams, Mount Olympus. In the other window was this mountain, my mountain. And we went 1 week here and 1 week there, so we wouldn't be too much on one mountain, because we want to explore. We were new, we want to explore. And we went to St. Helens. My husband was a born sport person, and he made a sport person out of me because I was, I didn't know anything, but I was willing to learn.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about it.
Has there been any other woman who's 77 years old who's attempted after you attempted?
No.
Nobody?
When I came down, I'm going to beat you. Bronka, I'm going to beat you. But nobody beat me. And I'm going to tell you something, that I went up with a girl that the grandmother used to hike up there. I don't know if you've ever seen the picture when they wear men's pants and men's shoes. Well, her great-granddaughter went up with me. She was very excited, and she was training to go to the summit, like a great-grandma. I don't know if that's a grandma or what, it was a relative. Anyway, she had 25 pounds of packed ice for the weight. That's all she had. She just want to go with me up and down. So we went up. She said, well, Bronka, I'm going to throw out the ice before I go down. Don't do it, because people are going to stay overnight. Wait, and we give the ice away. So we asked, you want the ice? Because everybody stays in a tent to get. So I came to a tent, and I said, you guys want no ice? I got ice to give away. And so he came out, and he says, no, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. She called the other one guy up. They were both doctors. And I don't know from what state they were. And they have a picture of me hanging on the wall, what people can do at that certain age. And of all the people, I would ask that tent. It has to happen. He took the ice. And he says, I wish I had more time. So that's what happened. Once you get known, everybody want to know you. They don't know why you do what you're doing. And you're just the way, if you're like I am, you're just the way you are. You share it. Why not?
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost me anything. I could go with any now to go up with a guide service costs a lot of money. Just to get the ticket that you can go up there costs a lot of money. The training costs money, and everything is given to me.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm lucky. So you say I'm not completely the Germans haven't crushed me. Put it that way.
Well, that's clear.
Yeah.
That's what's amazing, is that in spite of it, that you even thought to climb this mountain, and that you didn't stay at home and say, well, it'll be unsafe. No, you actually did it.
I did it, and I did it very good. And I have to show you the shoes. What happened this week? I went this week. I went to a mountain just across from here, and it's very steep, and you go at least for half an hour on a rock. It's so shiny. If it's snow on it, you're gonna slip. If it's dry, it's very slippery. And I'm gonna show you what happened to my shoes. I don't know if I show it, and I leave it to show you before. Because I went in a regular pair of shoes. So they said, how was it? Wasn't that way? Oh, when I came back. So they said, well, you need a new pair of shoes. So you're going to get your shoes 9 o'clock in the morning. And I said, I don't need them 9 in the morning. I'm not going to go hiking the next day. They were in my porch 9 o'clock in the morning. Would you believe it?
They want to take care of you, as
Yeah.
they should.
Yeah.
You are a symbol of something in this field of athletics, in this field of mountaineering. You represent so much.
Well, I went mainly for my own sanity, to stay sane. That's what I started to hike. And I'm still doing it whenever I'm depressed, because I'm alone. When I'm depressed, and if I'm not going to have company, I'm on the dike, just to get away from it all. And otherwise, and I don't have an answering. I got the answering machine, but I don't turn it on, because then I have to stay all day long in answering people. Then it's too much bother. They can always call me again. So I don't use my answer. This is an answering machine, but I never use it except for the call if I like I take it with me here. But the people know it, so. Yeah, you have to do back your life, because it's crushed and it doesn't get any better. So you have to if you can't eat the food that you like best, eat something that you can eat. And that's the way I feel with me. I can't undo what it's done, but if I'm going to be normal in my brain, I have to continue with things that I can do, and that's what I'm doing. Yeah. That's the only way I can, finish my life.
And you figured it out on your own.
Well, nobody else can figure it out for you. And I'm very lucky, because I have people, Rose takes me to the doctors mainly, and she can't get over it. It's any doctor. I'm going to tell you, I have a catheter. You know what a catheter is? I have a catheter because I lost a kidney. I was going to lose a kidney. And the person who change it for me, she invited me to her father's birthday. Her father's 90 years old. And I looked at she's not Jewish, by the way. She's a half German and half whatever. And I said, well, I would like to go to you to do it, but I says I'm alone and I won't drive anymore. Honey, I'm come get you. So my friend says, no, I love to see it too. I come get Bronka. So she came and get me that day to go to the birthday. The guy was 90 yees old. They want to make very special, and he had the kids or brothers. I don't know what they were. In Norway, he had, in Iceland, in all over the world. They must have been the military people. Anyway, so when we came in, she was very happy, and she got us the best chairs to sit there. And then there was a table just like similar to this table, and there was a photo thing, and there was a receiver from a telephone. So when I came in and sit down there, he handed me the receiver. And I looked at it and I said, at him, and I said, the receiver, I said, yeah, that's given for you. You have to do whatever you want to do. And I didn't know what to do. I don't know anybody. There were about 60 people there. My friend Timmy sits in the corner with the receiver. What would you do? Let's see if you can guess. What would you do? You don't know anybody. What would you do?
introduce yourself? Sing a song? I don't
That's
know.
what I did.
Sing a
Happy birthday
Ah.
to you. And they all start to sing happy birthday. So after the happy birthday was sung, the son from Iceland came over to visit with me. And we sat at least for an hour just yapping, just visiting. But it goes to show you that people like to do it because, so my friend says, Bronka, how in the world, I have no voice because I'm mostly hoarse. How in the world did you know what to do? And I said, well, I didn't know what to do. That's what I did. So you never know what goes in your head and you do it, and it happened to the right thing.
You just follow your instinct.
Instinct, that's the only way.
Yeah. Why did you decide to want to talk on camera about the Holocaust for the museum? Why? You don't know anybody at the museum. You don't know, you don't like to talk about it because it only brings bad memories. Why would you do it?
I do it for two reasons, because the people say that it never existed, and I'm still alive. From the people, I think I've heard that 2 million people alive from all over the world who have lived. If those people, they all must be older than I am, because I was very young. If we die, they say now that didn't exist. When we die, it's going to be, it never existed. So if I can make the people, it isn't a lie, it exists. They will listen more to me than a person who's in a home who doesn't understand what they're saying anymore, or who's a bedridden. They wouldn't have as much respect for them as, say, the Bronka who helped make the summit, she was Jewish too. And that might help, I don't know. I'm hoping it would help. I would like it to help. That's the only way I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I was asked about a month ago by a ranger, which I was I like him very much, because he's a ranger, his mother was Indian. So they used to go up the highest park but to get snow, but has never been touched. It's on holiday they have, what I don't know. So he did that, and he's a wonderful ranger. He took lessons with the plane, how to drive to be a pilot. Mm-hmm. And he took another ranger to take pictures for a book. He borrowed the plane to take the pictures for his book. A very dedicated person. So he asked me if I would be. And he went to Sweden for vacation, and I told him, Stefan, you can go to Sweden. I get you a job the first thing you get there, because his family at restaurants. But he hadn't got time. He was playing a guitar. And then he went to Israel, and he went to kibbutz. And he was in kibbutz, I think, for 2 months. He speaks very nice Hebrew. I can't understand it, but he speaks good Hebrew, because Wally thinks so. Not Wally, but Daniel thinks so. But anyway, that's the way the world is, you see. And he knows what's going on. He says, Bronka, I think that the Jewish people think this way. Instead to think that way. He says, Stefan, the Jewish people, when they come to here, they think that you think this way instead of that way. Because you don't understand the language, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what the mentalities with their country. They got Arabs for the next neighbor. So he understood why they're doing what they're doing. But that's what we need. Let them go, let them see, somebody tell them why they function the way they function, I'm a very much supportive person to get people brainwashed the way it should be.
But Jews have been hated for thousands of years.
Ever since they killed Jesus.
Well,
they didn't kill him. They didn't kill him.
Wasn't Jesus persecuted and he was a Jew?
No.
Jesus was a Jew?
No, yeah, he was a Jew, but you don't understand that in those days, it's even today, if you have a mamzer, you know what a mamzer is?
Sure, yeah.
Well, he was a mamzer. See, he was conceived from a student of Maria's father's. A student got her pregnant. And she was a daughter of this teacher, of this rabbi. And so it was also, even today, if I would have a child without a husband, my parents would disown me. And I would feel bad. And that's what Mary probably felt. and he started to heal the people. It maybe was a clique of people that nobody, he had the bar mitzvah that was hidden. My grandmother told me, I don't know if it's true or not, that one time he asked his mother, why do everybody hate me, nobody likes me? So she was opening a coffer. You know what a coffer is? You open it with one side. So he stood, he put, how was it? He put his mom's head in like this. Mom, if you don't tell me why people don't like me, I'm going to close that lid for you. My grandma told me that. So she told me, because your father passed away before you were born, that's why she put it out. But because the Jews disowned him, because he wasn't a Jew anymore in their eyes. He was a mamzer without a father. Imagine 2,000 years ago how they felt.
Yeah.
So what they did, they picked it up, and he started to heal. He went, accordingly, I wasn't there, but he helped people who were poor, he helped people who were blind. And for some, it attracted some Christians. The Christianity came, if you have that book to read, Christianity comes much later than the Jewish religion, as you probably know.
So for thousands of years, Jews have been persecuted, Jesus aside, Jews have been persecuted from Egyptian times and beyond, if we can go back to our own stories, right?
Yes.
Whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's, Pesach, or whether it's...
Yes.
We have holidays that recount time and again of persecution and survival from genocide.
Yes.
And you have lived through and survived the last genocide of the Jews.
So far.
And so we have all the evidence that points to the fact that the world will want to continue to kill Jews and hate Jews.
Yeah. So you think it's wise to become a Christian?
No, I mean...
No, I mean, between you and me, there's nobody here to listen to us. Do you think it's wise to become a Christian?
I could never.
See? That's what I mean. We cannot be...
We can.
So if you can't become a Christian, we can go in the steps that Jewish people would... that Jesus would like to have been accepted in those days, but they couldn't be accepted because there was no way to be accepted. A father will kill his daughter if she's pregnant in those days. So I think what happened now is we have to go this way instead of go that way. And eventually, you said the people believed that Jesus went up to the sky by himself. Do you think that's true? No. He was just buried. He was hidden. And there was a priest, not maybe it's about 20 years ago, a priest died, and he written in his testament that he wants to be buried in a Jewish cemetery. Why?
He was hidden.
His mother must have given him away when he was a little boy. Maybe she told him, don't forget because there were a lot of Christian people who were nice people, and they took the babies not to be killed. And maybe that was a boy who didn't get killed, and the mother told him, don't forget that you are Jewish, because why would you want to be buried in a Jewish cemetery? So if you put all these things together, it gets you that it's hard to tell, but I would never want to change my religion, because I don't believe in no religion for that matter. That's history. The Jewish made a religion because they follow. The only time they could say their kids is the Friday night when everybody, the candles were kindled and everybody came to the family. Even if you have grandchildren, you take your grandchildren to the family. It was a big family, and we needed that because we didn't have any friends out of the circle, of the Jewish circle. And that's what the parents thought to spit out, but you go buy a chazes or when they served chazes,
Yeah.
So it's also for a reason. But if you look into the reasons, they believe in things who written the Bible, the Jews.
So here we are on D-Day, June 6th. We're 2019. Do you remember hearing anything about D-Day at the time, or were you already away from any possible news when you heard about the Americans?
I heard of it. I read about it too.
You read about it too?
Yeah.
At the time?
Yeah. No, not at the time.
No.
Later. Nothing at the time, no.
At the time, you were in... by that point, you were already... Where were you at 1944?
In 44, it was in the war. In the war. I didn't know nothing what was happening
You
here.
didn't know what was happening then, yeah.
But
So,
the
yeah.
fact is, where you do know, you want to know about it. I've read very much about this Collett guy who's a congressman now. He got a very common name. And I read all his life story that he was the only son, and the parents begged him not to go into the restaurants and sit down because he's going to get killed from the rest in the restaurant. What was it? I got the book. I still got enough. It's packed. And he fought for the colored people. They went to a restaurant, arms in arms, and they know they're going to be either shot or killed. But they went to a restaurant and they sat down. They're not allowed to be there because they're black. But they sat there.
Lewis.
Lewis, did you read his book?
Oh, I got to interview him once.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you should have read. Did you read his book?
I haven't. No.
If you have time.
I will. He was
He's
there
still-
arm
he's
in
still-
arm with
Yeah,
Martin Luther King
yeah,
Jr.
yeah. You
on
know-
the Selma Bridge, I believe.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm going to tell you something, that his parents were very much against it because he's the only son they had. And he was afraid, they were afraid that he's going to not come home from one of those meetings. But he organized, the meetings with the kids in school. And they start out the revolution against the blacks.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned Lewis's name because I think that when we think about civil rights leaders and we think about what people stand for, including someone like Muhammad Ali, who decided not to go to war, because he said, "What do the Vietnamese have against me? Here in my own country, they call me the N-word." So I'm not. So that is a heroic standing up against power and civil rights heroes. And I think one could say that you're
I'm one of them,
symbolizing.
too.
You're a civil rights hero as well, and you're symbolizing something by summiting this mountain at 77 as a Jew, as a Holocaust survivor. That means something.
Yes. And I like I say again, I've given a lot of colored people to go join the organizations to get the bodies out and do something like, what's it called in Tacoma, go to the Mountaineers. A lot of people that I meet and they call it and they talk about, I said, why don't you join the Mountaineers? It's a good time to join it. You'll enjoy it because the hate is away, and if it's half hateful, you look to the side and you do it anyway. You have to, that's the way he did,
Mm-hmm.
His mother was very much against him, that he joined the group of people who fought for their rights, but he didn't listen to his parents. And look, he's in the Congress now. Who could ever too bad his mother couldn't be alive and say what he'd done for himself.
Yeah.
I loved his book. I just loved it. And I've brought it to many, many people. Because again, no matter, they say, you don't like a pig. Pigs are very clean. Pigs are cleaner than cows. You know that? They like to be the cornersmiths clean. So when I say, well, you a pig, but the pigs got clean. The pigs are cleaner than the cow. But people don't say that way. So we just go this way instead to go straight that way. But it takes, eventually it'll probably happen that way,
Yeah.
Even if one bird doesn't make summer, but a dozen birds must show summer. We have the swallows here, and they come every week from the warmer places. But there's nothing to eat because we have nothing in the air. We have no bugs. Have you noticed that there's no bugs, no flies?
Yeah.
Because on account of the way our climate got to be in the way there's nothing but lives because we're going to get poisoned too from our food. Because all the fertilizer damages the growth of the food that the birds can eat. There's no flies because they die whatever they spray the parks, the gardens with, or whatever, the orchards with. But, so the poor bird comes back. This week she was here overnight, and they both sit on the lines, like saying, what are we going to do? And the next day they're going. But they come every 2 weeks or so, every week to check it out. It has gotten better, but it hasn't gotten better.
Yeah.
You would see a whole bunch of ants here, but there's even no, all the ants supposed to be more, they say there's more ants in the world than people. But yet you don't see them here. They're not eat for the meat, I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe what they eat get them poisoned. We don't know.
You've seen a big change environmentally.
Very much so, very much so. And it's, the bees. The bees gives us a lot of food there's no bees.
Yeah.
In the bees which are, they die because I found about 4 bees in my garage on the window. They must have eaten something and got in there to die.
So you're very close with nature, not just because you live up here, but you're very
Observant
of the
yeah.
fly, of the
Yes.
ants, of the swallows,
That's part
of the
of
bees.
us. That's part of us. That if we lose that, we'll be the next to die, because we live. We got the honey from the bee. The fly brings us whatever. Everything brings us something, and we are not having it. And the next will be us. And I don't believe, people spend so much more money to go to the store to buy the health food. Well, I'm going to tell you that the health food, you buy bananas. If you bananas, the banana from the day that. Hello? Hi, how you doing, Jim? Did you find out something? Behind your back? Yeah. I'm sorry, Jim. You know that. I'm sorry that. Wally would like to have me there. Maybe they're going to. Can they take away the money that I paid in? Maybe he's afraid of that. I don't know. It is. I'm sorry, hon. I still have company in the house, so I'm sorry, Jim. Please don't get upset because. Well, he should call you first before he does it. Anyway. No. Then that hurts. I know that. Yeah. I told you that from the Jewish organization that yeah. What do you say? What did you say? Yeah, that'll be fine. But I'm sorry what happened, Jim. And Wally does what he thinks is right, and he doesn't know what's right all the time. Yeah, do that. Love you. Love you too. Bye-bye. It's a guy who works for the park. He's a ranger, and he's trying to get me the water straightened out. And then Wally went behind his back and called up the people that he thinks who can help him, and he doesn't like it. That's the way people are. Wally means well.
Yeah, he wants to try to move things along.
Yeah, and he means well too, but it takes time.
Yeah, it takes time, or maybe he feels kind of shamed that he didn't call the people. I don't know, but it's. But now you've got 2 people working on it, so that's good.
They would never do anything, and I just quit. I cannot worry of everything. It doesn't work. It just
no, the worry you've done enough worrying in your life. You don't need to worry anymore. It's going to work out.
It has to work, but say what Wally wants. Wally wants me to be down there, and he talked me into pack everything. That was in March. I've been without clothes since March. I have to wash every couple of days, but I wear because all my clothes are down there. I would buy new clothes, but I don't want. I got enough clothes for the rest of my life. So it's just like a game they're playing with one another. In the mat at Wally, because Wally's smart and they are. He's very smart. And he says it isn't right not to have it done. The people who know that I'm alone, people know that I'm so old, not to let me be in a place where I can be more secure. Wally means well. And he gets mad because he works behind his back. So I have to be polite on both sides.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, you've got two sides that are both wanting to take care of
you.
So
exactly.
I guess that's what we can. I mean, we could talk about so many different things, but at the end of the day, here you are, and you have so many people around you that love you.
Yeah,
And
but
you
you know
didn't
he
get-
called. You know what he called. So if he's gonna embarrass Wallis, I wouldn't mind. That was nice.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's gonna call him up now, bawl him out, but he wouldn't be afraid that Bronka will find out in a different way.
Yeah, see, they're thoughtful of you.
Yeah.
And I think that no, you didn't get to have the things that most people get to have. You didn't, and you had to live with a kind of thing that nobody should have to live with.
No. But you know,
you
life is full of learning. Do you know that? You, no matter how old you think you are, you know it all. You don't. You learn, and all the things what's against you, you learn from it. And all the things but they're wonderful, you enjoy it, but you learn from it. You know, and that's life. And people don't realize. They think my stove didn't work, and they tried a guy to come up here was going to charge me $250. He used to come, I think from Olympia, I'm not sure. But anyway, while he sat, he had this chair a whole day, and he repaired it. So people think he's an old man. He might be an old man, but he's very efficient. You know what I mean? And I like people like that.
Yeah.
So I'm between. But I told him I'm sorry. So.
Well, is there anything that you'd like to talk about for this? Whether it's people's names or your own family or anything that you'd like to be part of this that will live at the museum, or do you think that we've spoken about all the things that you?
I think we mentioned a lot of things,
We did,
that we
yeah.
could, and I think the museum is a thing that people go to. Let them all go back to yesterday. That's the museum surfer, and I'm hoping that a lot of people talk a lot about the one in Israel. Have you ever been to Jerusalem, to the place for the things? You say, when I went in there, I couldn't be the model for 2 seconds. I went out of it because all the little shoes, all the little socks, all the little clothes, but people, they see it 3 or 4. Maybe they start to see it's the truth because the whole world they don't know for sure it was like this. So it's a gamble. If people will accept it or will they reject it, and hopefully they'll respect it. And it's a warning today. They hate the Jews. Tomorrow they're going to hate the colored people. Next day they're going to hate this. Well, I was taught to hate the Swede, and I'm married to a Swede. So that's what life is all about. If a child would be smart, they wouldn't. Of course, they're not experienced. They would never hate anything until they don't look into it, read about it, or have it happen to their own skin. We thought so highly of the Germans because they were the smartest in iron work. They were the smartest in productive things. It was the richest country in Europe. They were richer than England. England got all the things from other countries. They robbed other countries to get the things, where Germans did it on their own. They never had colonies. Like France, like England, and yet they could be so horrible. And so we have to learn from all that. You can't say, the English people used to they hated the American language. Did you know that? They thought it isn't a language, a jargon, because they didn't speak the English. Now we all speak the American English because the TV taught us that. I'm not talking about the people, but the people who live in Europe, they must try to learn the American English because it's the closest. They do most business with it. So look how we change. So, life is very complicated. And longer you live, the more complicated it gets to say, because you cannot change the world. No matter from your experience, you think you can influence something, but very few people will listen to you, especially when you get older. So life is complicated. It could be so much easier if we would all get along, and it would be a court, like like we have it in every city. You go to court, and whatever the judge says, you have to obey it. That's the way it should be international, but it'll never be. If the Arabs came with the oil, some other country might come with something else, and somebody will go for it. But it should be. They wouldn't let some people go into the Jewish people go into the United Nations for the meetings either at the very beginning. But that has changed. That's better now. And look at it. No matter how poor they live, how poor they have it, we are very close to get cancer from Israel, cure, the cures. And they work, they want to improve things. And yet that two-facedness, that hateful is so deep in the people, they don't know how to get away from it. That's sad. But hopefully you kids, when they grow up, hopefully it'll be much better. And I'm glad that you spend as much time with them as you can. They need it.
Yeah.
I don't know what people learn to hate, whether they learn it at home or they learn it from other kids. I don't know where that hate comes from. They must come from somewhere. You know that I have a friend, his name is Jim. This name was Jim too, the one who talked to me. And he learned, when he writes to me every day. I haven't opened the letter from today yet. He writes the date in Hebrew, the number in Hebrew. And he would do anything, have the people be nice to one another. He's very religious, and he's a Christian. And so you find any kind of people in the world, but find the right people. He said, Bronka, I respect the Jewish. That's what he says. Bronka, you go to jail. You never find a Jewish person in jail, he tells me. Not here in the United States. Maybe it's true. But if they think that way, if they look that way, perhaps they'll change their mind from the hate to be love. If you Jew you down, where did that get it from? Maybe it was like this years ago, but I don't think any business now want to Jew down a Christian. I don't think so. I don't know. But it must have come from something. Maybe they took advantage of the people. I don't know, but the hate must come from something.
Yeah. I mean,
you're right. But it grows without. But when I go to school and talk to school about the Holocaust, and the kids say, they're innocent. You can talk anything, and they start to understand that if it's good or if it's bad. Why not talking about nice things? I went to a Catholic school when I started out, and her name was Krisha Lachtarska. Her name was, and she used to write horrible, and she died. A horse got on her. The horse smashed her. So the teacher, who was Catholic too, used to go around to show what beautiful writing she did. She wrote worse than any I know of. But she showed it around the class. Krisha Lachtarska wrote so pretty. And that's the way people should do. If it would be a Jewish kid, she would never mention it. So it goes to show you, in the Muslim, I think it comes because we were alone, wherever we went, and we have to knock out a living in a very hard way we did, and that's what did it. That's the only way it can happen. And I think it's gonna eventually, I won't live that long, but maybe your grandchildren will come into a different step of life, because it's getting better.
I hope so.
It's getting better. Look, all the people dying, none of them are Jewish. When Oki died, there were maybe 3 or 4 couples from Tacoma, because we belong to Tacoma, to the temple, came to Oki's funeral, but was way out, was way up here. But I was happy to see that they did kill.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. Just the only thing you can do is show that you are better. That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
Treat somebody better, tolerate somebody better, have time for somebody. And that's what I'm doing, and I think I'm to help out. That's the only thing you can do.
Well, you've done a lot.
I hope so. It's hard to judge, but I try to. And like now, I could have gotten mad too, but he doesn't know. He's old. He doesn't know. He probably don't meet. You can also flatten it down a little bit instead to, make it do worse, because that wouldn't help any.
Yeah. Well, do you need to make a phone call to Wally and
No,
catch
let
up
him.
with him? Or?
No, he's gonna Jim. He's a joiner in the park.
Yeah.
His father was a lawyer for the White House.
Wow.
Yeah, and his brother, he's retired now, but he was like what do you call it? He went to the countries to find out what's going on in the countries. What do you call that? If they would catch him, he would be killed. a spy.
Spy,
He
yeah.
was a spy for, I don't know for what country, but he's retired now. It's a very nice family. His parents were here, and his family were, his sister were here. They're very nice people. And he was a school teacher, but he couldn't stand the kids. They was, they were doing it. So he's a young person.
Yeah.
So he's quit schooling and started to work for the park as a seasonal. And he went back to the school and learned electrician. He's an electrician for the park. He's going to retire now.
It's great.
Yeah.
Did you ever want to spend time with other survivors, or was that just not something that you wanted to do because?
Oh, I don't know. I'm never in the situation to talk about it. I never.
Oh, so you've never spent any time with survivors in this country?
No.
Really?
Because I lived in Sweden.
Right.
Yeah.
But even after 1948, here you never met survivors.
Well, no, I didn't exactly meet. They got, there's a clique of survivors in a bigger city.
Yeah.
If I would live in Seattle, I skied with a girl who was she taught gymnastics in Seattle at the old people's home for Jewish people. And she says, Bronka, you know what my name is in there? And I said, no, Shikso. You know what Shikso is? And I said, oh, that's a very nice name. That's,
You said you told her that was a nice name.
What else could you say?
I know.
So if I would live in Seattle, I would have more in common. But I live,
Right.
I used to live in Tacoma. And there I got a couple. She was, she went to China to get away from the war. She was German, but she went to China. She must have got a lot of money to go to China. And she lived through the war in China. And then she came to the United States. I don't know how or what. So no, I don't have the opportunity to meet anybody because I'm here alone.
Right. Maybe in Lacey. I don't know. Maybe it would be. I know that a friend of mine worked on a film called Force.
I understand it, but it's just, when I was in Israel, I've got one girl, she passed away, Tova was her name. And when I came there, the first day, we couldn't even talk to one another. We just cried. Because we were very close friends in Poland, very, very close friends. And then her sister joined the kibbutz, and she got heart trouble. She was much younger, she died. The whole family, her uncle had the money. So the uncle and the aunt support the whole family to go to Russia instead to be in the ghetto. So I don't know how they got to Russia. In fact, they want to take me to Russia, but my mother would never dream about it. So the father, the girls got killed in Russia, got shot in Russia. But anyway, when the first day when we came to see one another, I came to see her, all we did is cried all day. We couldn't do nothing. We just cried too much. So the next day we got together again. I have a picture with her. We could talk then. But it's tragic. Everything is tragic.
Yeah. I
But
wonder if spending time with them would.
it doesn't
be less
help.
It doesn't help.
It doesn't help. No, you had your problems. I got my problems, and I know which was the both bad.
Yeah.
It's just something that I have sympathy. If I say something can help it, I would help it. But I don't know because I've never been except with Dr. Weisputter when she was in Israel. But when I was in Israel, but otherwise I never had the occasion.
Yeah. I know even if
In my case, these people that you hear phone calls and you hear, they helped me a lot. I don't think I could exist without them. I would have probably. My husband died. I died with him, even though I was alive. I was in the hospital the last, I would say, 2 weeks, and they were nice enough to make an office for my rooms. I could be wall to wall with my husband when he was sick. And those people helped me a lot because that's my family. That's all I have, But it's easier to have somebody because if you're alone, you go crazy because you live with your past, and that's very unhealthy.
Yeah.
If something happens like this, like happened to me and thousands of others, you need people around you, not to be in that. Go to bed and go wake up with the same problem.
Yeah.
It gets on your brain.
Well, I'm on the one hand, I'm extremely thankful that you were willing to do this. On the other hand, I'm aware that it's not a pleasant thing to have to do.
It's hard, but I'm happy. I'm hoping that we can stay friends without this thing too, because that's what counts, you know.
I agree. Thank you.
And I hope that people will change their mind, because a lot of people, they say, "Oh, Bronka, have you seen the Holocaust Museum?" And I say no, but I support it.
And this is a huge way of supporting it, is that you're doing something that you didn't have to do, and you're doing it, and even if it makes you upset, you don't have to do this. And that's the other thing about testimonies and people sharing. I just wonder why, even after all of this, are people still willing to kind of climb that mountain of recounting the past? And here you are again, climbing the mountain.
You know, if it wouldn't be for the mountains, I don't know, but I probably wind up mental sick. It helped me a lot. It helped me a lot, the people talking to me. I didn't have no value. And all of a sudden, I start to value. Do you know that when we left Sweden, you would not believe it, but as long as you can hear, the people were singing songs because we were leaving Sweden, mainly for me. People in Sweden, when, I don't know what's today, but we used to live in the same house in apartments, and all you say, hi, but you never had conversation. When I lived in Sweden, I got many friends in Sweden, I accumulate friends. And when I left, there must have been, I don't know how many. In fact, one family bought me a dozen of glasses. And can you see when you're going to take the train, somebody comes to box me a dozen of glasses? I don't know what to do. So poor Oki, he went to bought, in Sweden they used to have a box, they still probably have, where your breath is in. It has a lid goes up and this way. So Oki bought a box like that, and for 12 glasses, one got only cracked.
Wow.
But the people were so unusually friendly and unusually happy. And I got many things, many souvenirs from Sweden, from friends that we used to be together. So I was they say that I'm very lucky to people. Maybe it takes two people to tango. I don't know, you know.
Well, you put in a lot of goodness in the world, and
I'm
thank
hoping.
goodness people are sending it back to you.
They do when I need them. You see now, but everybody want to help me with moving, and then he gets upset because he's better than I am. While he does behind his back, while he's afraid of Jim because he's younger and he doesn't, while he cannot hear. So he takes Lou, which is his neighbor, not too close, it's a different street. But when he met Lou, he didn't like him because he was too like a Swedish people, too open. And I said, well, you might need him someday. He might even drive you someday. And now he's doing it for him. So, the friendship came that way. So I'm sort of proud of it, And then Lou got to he worries over me. And Lou has nothing to do with me, but being Wally's friend, he worries over me. So that's the way of friendship. And you try to do your best because that's all you can do.
Yeah. Kind of like a new little family. It's a different family, but it's a
family. And I think that Jim might be jealous that's going over there because he knows that people call me in the winter when I'm going to come down. So it's just that's the world, But I'm very careful with what I'm going to say to them and what I would want to be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's they help me a lot.
Well, you're beloved, and so they're helping you is also a way of showing their love.
Yes, it is. Yes. So it's hard to live the way I live, but still, I've no choice. I'm living.
Yeah.
And you have to make the best out of it, otherwise you wind up, in a crazy house, and nobody can help you. So that's that's the way it is. But I hope we stay friends. We're gonna when I move, we'll be in a different world.
Well, I'm just in Seattle, so yeah, absolutely, and I would love to go for a hike, and take you take me for a hike, or me.
We take together for a hike.
And you know what? I would like you to see my daughter, who's 4 years old.
Yeah, that'd be very
but she
special.
loves hiking, and when she knows that you summited at 77, she will have it in her mind that someday she will.
Well, that the girl who just summited yesterday called up my friend Rose and told her, tell Bronka that I summited just like she did in one day, and tell her she'll be so happy. So you see how people are?
Yeah.
And I'm happy that she did. It's a young girl.
Yeah.